in the once peaceful land of Clichéa. Many years ago, in the first age of man, a Dark Lord arose in the east and built a giant black basalt tower from which him and his evil minions began to conquer the lands of the free peoples of Clichéa. However, a brave hero arose from the little known province of the Northern Shire and was able to defeat the Dark Lord. However, the Dark Lord's evil had blighted the very land itself, and ever since then a dark shadow has lain over the land of Gothmore. And the ruins, no one has been able to penetrate the ruins of the Dark Lord's tower, which even now stands as a black blight upon the landscape. The minions of the Dark Lord were pushed back by the armies of the Free Peoples, demoralised by the loss of their lord, as though their very will had been sapped out of them. They were driven back into the frozen northern wastes by the armies of the Free Peoples, who then undertook a great project to build a massive wall through the only reliable pass stretching from the mountains of the mist to the coast to the west. And to the humans of the land south of the wall and their stalwart allies from the barbaric tribes of the north, it fell to them to man this wall should the minions of the Dark One ever attempt to menace the lands of the free people. At first, the wall was staffed by volunteers and brave heroes. However, as the years rolled by and there was no sign of the Dark Lord, the need for the wall slowly began to slip from the minds of the short-lived humans. Until now, many hundreds of years later, we find the wall staffed by ex-convicts, disgraced nobles, criminals, various other people who are often given the choice of imprisonment or execution, or serving on the wall, watching the frozen wastes. They are commanded by an order of monks known as the Magisters, who spend their time studying the ancient writings and ancient prophecies left by the great hero of the First Age, who prophesies that at some point the Dark One would regather his strength and would return. But the memories, as are the lives of men, are short, and these prophecies and the Magisters themselves are now regarded as little more than useless remnants of a mythic past, with scant regard paid to them. The Magisters recruit few people, and there are only a handful of them left, aging monks and a few true believers who still watch for the reappearance of the Dark One. Our group of players are playing a detachment of people who, through various reasons of their own, have been either stationed or have volunteered to serve at the wall.
Indeed, an elven noble that's probably slipped towards the scummier side of society, heading towards manipulation and the high life. Unfortunately, that was his downfall, and now he finds himself at the wall trying to make his way, wheeling and dealing as fair as he can.
Hello, yeah, I'm Afro Dave. I'm playing Clean Breeze, a mage who didn't finish all his mage schoolery through shenanigans and so on, and found himself stuck on the wall through probably some drunken actions in one of the cities. Yeah, he's got one spell, and sometimes it kicks off and kills lots of people. Other times it's terrible, so he tries to hide a lot.
Well, Merwig Boffin Hobbit. I don't really get on with the other hobbits that much. I'm a bit different, really. I'm a bit of the black sheep of the Hobbit lands, and so I left. But when you're a wee folk, you got to do what you got to do to survive. So yeah, ended up in a few sticky situations I've had to creep my way out of.
Hello, Orchid's the name, Hellfolk, from round these parts. I'm the third generation to serve on the wall, like my father and his father before him. We work on the wall, and I'll probably die on the wall.
I'm Jay. It's my duty as a guardian to stand on this wall.
So, it's a particularly cold night on the wall. It's the deepest depths of winter. Snow falls in the distance, and an eerie white sheen hangs over the ever unchanging landscape of the north. You all find yourselves rotated onto your guard shift on the wall. You stare out across the wastes, as you have done many occasions previously. Very little changes. You're used to occasionally seeing a patrol head back to the wall. Very little else. Normally you spend a few hours up here. You watch. Nothing really happens. You return inside, go to sleep. You get some other duties as well. Obviously this duty that you're on now, guarding the wall, standing on the battlements, exposed to the elements and the freezing cold, isn't a favoured duty, but everyone has to take their turn. However, as you're all stood there, you're all stood around a small coal brazier made of metal that seems to shed a little heat at all. It's only a tiny brazier with a few small coals burning in it. It seems to exist more just to remind you of how truly cold it is, rather than to provide any warmth. And you're all looking a bit downhearted and a little bit miserable. The snow lashing around. You've all got sort of cold weather, like cloaks on, sort of fur-lined hoods, etc., that you're provided with by the Magisters. And at this point, I'm going to ask, can you please roll me a d6 and tell me what you get?
Certainly can. I got a 5.
Okay. So, as you're all stood around this brazier, you're also huddled around it trying to warm your hands. Jay, you happen to be stood so that you can see over Clean Breeze's shoulder and out across the white wastes. And as you strain your eyes against the darkness, what little light there is from the moon reflecting from the snow, you see a lone figure wrapped in furs that appears to be trying to run towards the large gatehouse on the wall. You can see them running through the snow. As you watch, they half stumble, sort of half falling into the snow, but managing to pick themselves up again. And as they put a hand down and sort of push themselves back up, where they briefly made contact with the snow, you can see a small dark patch has been left on the pristine white surface. No one else appears to have spotted it yet, Jay, since they're all sort of like facing the other way.
I will literally grab the nearest one to me and point them in direction to it.
Okay, so you reach to your right. Orchid Beetleman, this large like hill folk, is stood next to you, and you literally sort of grab hold of him. Like, you can't really turn him round, but you sort of tug his arm, and he naturally looks in the direction that you're looking, because obviously you're on a watch.
Yeah.
And as you look across, Orchid, you can also see this lone fur-wrapped figure, normal sort of human size, sort of staggering as it's hurrying towards the wall, the snow pouring down.
Have we got anyone out tonight from the watch? Nobody know?
Clueless, mate.
If anyone wants to make an intelligence check, see if you know whether someone's out there. So roll a d20, Clean Breeze, add your intelligence, and you need to get 12 or more.
Oh, 19 on the roll.
Okay, so as far as you're aware, the last patrol came back half an hour ago. There's no one else out there.
Yeah. Right, last patrol came out half an hour ago. We're only all poor souls out here.
So it's not one of us then?
Nope.
We better go and have a look.
I've shot out then.
You better then, go on. I'm guarding this fire.
Halt!
The figure tries to like come to a stop and sort of looks up to where the sound of the voice has come from. As he does so, he actually falls over into the snow, and he has to, like, you see, like, with quite some like painful effort, starts to push himself up. as he does so, you can see another of these dark patches in the snow. And now that he's a bit nearer, you can see that this patch is actually dark red, staining the once pristine white of the winter snow. He's about a metre away from the large wooden gate that forms the gatehouse of the Great Wall.
I'll tap on Merwig's shoulder and be like, "Hey, he's coming. He's not one of ours. Doesn't mean he hasn't got anything on him."
I don't know. Everything looks covered in blood at the minute.
Exactly. There's not a lot of work to do.
Let's see what they have to say first, I think.
As you're saying this, the figure has actually pushed himself to his feet, and he sort of staggers the rest of the distance to the large wooden gate, and he starts hammering on the wooden gate, and in a loud voice that has the distinct twang of the northern tribes, which I won't attempt to do because it would sound like the Swedish chef out of the Muppets. But he hammers on the gate and he's like, "For God's sake, let me in!"
No.
What's the urgency, mate?
He says, "They're coming!"
What's coming?
At which point I'm going to roll a d4, which I've got a 3, and I'm going to set that for the counter. And he's like, he looks up at you, and he takes his hands away, you see he's like holding his chest, and there's a crude, almost like a bit of sheet or something that he's wrapped around his chest as like a bandage, but you can see there's like thick red soaking through the bandage, and he's like trying to hold it with his chest, and he says, "Terrible creatures from the north. They've already wiped out the northern Asgardian villages."
Orchid's going to sort of start descending off the wall now, going towards the gate because he doesn't know any better.
I'll go get one of the magisters. I'll be right back.
Clean Breeze are going to stay up on top of the garrison, keeping a watchful eye.
Okay. So, is anyone else doing anything in particular, or we're good to carry on?
I'm readying my bow.
I understand.
Just following Orchid.
Okay, not a problem. So, Orchid and Theodos, you go down to like investigate this guy. Merwig's gone to try and find one of the magisters. Clean Breeze is still up on the wall, and Jay's there, sort of like arrow notched to the bow, ready to like deal with this if it gets necessary. Okay, so it's going to take you a while to find one of the magisters, Merwig. So in the meantime, Theodos and Orchid, you make it down to the large wooden gate, and there's like a small sort of door next to it, which has like an iron gate over it that like the patrols used to go out, so they don't have to open like the big doors all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So Orchid will turn to Theodos and say, "Cover me, mate, while I open the door."
Whoa. We don't want to just open the door. Anyone, have a look through the slot. He might just covered himself in jam.
I don't want to be poked in the eye. I'll take me chances with him man to man.
I'll take like 3 steps back and be like, "Right you are. I'm here with you."
Okay. Theodos will just lift the latch or the wooden beam across it and
Indeed.
Open it up.
You open the iron door, and as you look out, you can see this bedraggled figure. Now you can see his features close up. You can see he's got like a plaited red beard and like red hair. There's a few cuts over his face, a few bits of dried blood on his face, and he's wearing the standard sort of furs that you'd expect from a northern tribesman. You can see he looks extremely pale, even for someone who lives in the north. And as you're looking at him, you can see that he's actually like his legs are sort of shaking a little bit, as though he's struggling to stand.
Don't just stand there, mate. This beam is bloody heavy. Get in here.
He staggers forward and through the door, almost collapsing with the effort.
Immediately sort of slam the gate behind and drop the beam down.
Okay, no problem.
I'll have one hand on my dagger, but not necessarily making it obvious that that's what I'm doing, and just kind of like go over in a caring manner.
Yep, you've got your hand on your dagger, you head over to, which is lucky, because as you reach him, he starts to like collapse, so like just to fall to the ground, obviously from like loss of blood. So you can see, as you're now seeing him closer, you can see he's obviously got like quite a lot of like deep wounds that he's tried to bandage, but he's been running across the snow for Lord only knows how long, and like several of his wounds have reopened, and there's blood freely pouring out of them.
Okay, I'll as he's coming down, like as I can see, he's like that. I am going to actually let him go down, but in a manner that's not a fall. I'm putting him down in a controlled manner.
Yeah, no problem. You lower him to the snow. Yeah. As you start lowering him down, he grabs hold of like the sort of
my pimp
of your pimp jacket to like pull you close in, and in a voice that's through gritted teeth and a red pain, he says, "The minions of the Dark One, they're coming."
I'll just kind of like that. yeah, of course they are, mate. They've been coming for a long while.
Has he been drinking, Theo?
Yeah, I think so. Does it smell like he's been drinking, John?
No. Okay.
I was like, yeah, I think so, and then just kind of look a bit concerned.
Okay. Meanwhile, Merwig, inside, you've been looking around and you've managed to find Magister Crassus, who is an elderly man. He's wearing like the typical sort of brown monkish robes of one of the magisters. You managed to find him in the reading room where they consult their old tomes and their prophecies, and he's actually looking at an old book which has loads of sort of weird squiggly writing on it that doesn't mean anything to you. And he's got like a small pair of spectacles, he's got like a candle burning, and he's looking at this book. He doesn't seem to notice as you walk into the room.
Magister Crassus.
Yes?
We've got a... Well, he's not one of ours. He's at the gate now, demanding to be let in. He looks like he's injured. Might be something, you'd be interested in. He's raving. He's raving.
Yes. Well, let us go and see that young boffin.
Yeah.
And this old man, he grabs his like walking stick and he starts following you. And he's moving quite slowly because he's like an old man. He's sort of like bent over and he's like leaning on his stick. But the two of you start making your way outside. As you get outside, you see that Theodos and Orchid have already let this fellow in, and he's like lying on the floor between them, his blood soaking into the snow. And to your keen hearing, although Magister Crassus doesn't seem to have heard it, you're just in time to hear him go, "The minions of the Dark One, they're coming," as he like grabs Theodos's coat and pulls him a little bit closer.
Hands off the threads, mate. Did you hear that, Magister Crassus? Minions of the Dark Lord, Magister Crassus!
Hey! What?
Minions of the Dark Lord! That's what he just said. Is he dead? Theo, is he dead?
You appear to be muted, young Master Omar.
Sorry. I'll kind of like be like trying to like get some of the blood off my jacket, and then just kind of like look down. Is he dead?
No, but his breathing's very shallow. He looks like he's not long for this world.
No, but he's definitely circling the drain.
Okay.
Right.
Meanwhile, up on the wall, Clean Breeze and Jay, you're stood there sort of scanning the horizon when you see like a small sort of dark speck in the sky, and it's like getting like bigger rapidly. As it starts getting bigger, you hear this, and then only you two have seen it, so you guys have a moment to react. You see what appears to be a huge rock of some kind with flames licking around it, plunging down through the air towards the wall.
That jumped into
So everyone who's in the courtyard or whatever, you hear Clean Breeze go, "Incoming!" Then there's this, as this huge flaming rock hits a section of the wall. Luckily, not the one that Clean Breeze and Jay are on, but you both sort of have to like grab onto the battlements nearby to you, as a huge section of the wall is demolished by this fiery projectile. Stone and rock rain down on those in the courtyard.
I presume that's the dark forces coming then.
Nah.
Well, if I didn't believe him before, I'm more likely to believe him now.
I'll light an arrow
Indeed.
and send it back in the direction, see if we can see anything at all.
Okay, so Jay, you notch an arrow, you dip it into the oil and then the brazier, lighting the end of it. You loose it. Make me an attack roll, so it's a d20 plus your dex. You need to beat 12. Now, obviously, you're going to fire the arrow to see how much it reveals.
It's 11, so I've not made you 12.
Okay, that's fine. So what happens is you fire your arrow, it sails through the night sky, this glittering point of light, then it sinks into the snow. Obviously, as it goes into the snow, there's a tss, and the light is extinguished. However, just before the light is extinguished, you can see sort of amongst the snow drifts and the coniferous forest to the north, you think you see movement, but you didn't get enough chance to sort of like work out like the numbers of people there or what they exactly are. But you definitely saw something moving just beyond the tree line.
Orchid's going to call up to Clean Breeze and Jay on the battlements. How bad is it?
Working on it. I'll send another arrow.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, as you're notching another arrow, again you hear.
I'm running off the battle. I'm running down the battlements to get off and screw. The Dark Lord is coming! The Dark Lord is coming!
And again,
Don't panic, Clean Breeze.
another fiery rock, which
Panic mode.
you would estimate, Jay, now you sort of roughly know where these people are. They must have some sort of siege engine, either in the, like a ballista, either in the trees or shortly behind them, and they're sort of firing over. However, this rock is aimed at the section of the wall that you guys are on. So, since it's a matter of can you get off the wall quickly enough, I'm going to ask Clean Breeze and Jay, can you both please make me a dexterity roll? So d20 plus your dex, you need to beat 12 or equal 12.
Oh, I got 12 on the roll.
I did get a natural 20.
Oh.
You did. At the wrong time, but I got one. So.
Okay.
Flipping off the wall's not going to be.
So since obviously you're not really rolling effort for this, but what I'm going to say is basically Clean Breeze has pretty much just like dived off the wall and like landed in the snow, taking no damage. However, if you would like to add a particular flourish or a bit of like extra finesse to the way you get off the wall, I'm effectively turning the description over to you, Jay. How do you stylishly get off the wall?
I will stylishly just surf down on my shield.
Okay, so as Clean Breeze is like, the Dark Lord's coming here! Into the snow, you throw your shield onto the steps, jump on the shield, and in the best traditions of elven archers everywhere, surf down the stone stairs, and in a sort of cool guys don't look at explosions way, as you're just getting to the bottom, the section of wall you were on explodes behind you, sending shards of rock and mortar raining down around you, and you surf out of that cloud of debris with great panache, and then sort of stamp your foot down on the shield, flip it up like a 90s skateboard, and grab hold of
Some people stand in the darkness.
Exactly.
People step into the light.
John, whilst all this is going on, everyone's distracted and confusion, and I'm going to have a furtive, sneaky search of the Northmen to see if we've got anything there.
Okay, splendid. I'll tell you what, let's make a roll on the.
Already going for the loot.
Let's make a roll on the loot table and see what we get.
Yeah.
Not even cold yet.
Okay. So, it's not really ancient loot. Okay, so I'm going to roll twice, and I'll tell you what he's got. So 43.
What does it got? What does it got?
Okay, he has corrosion, so rust-proof gloves.
Ooh.
They give +1 armor, and also while you're wearing them, if you hold anything that's acidic or would cause rust, they're not affected by it.
Nice.
So if you want to take them, you can do. He's pretty much passed out, so he can't stop you. and also because of your greedy gloves, he also has a pouch containing 80 coins hanging from his belt.
That's more than the pouch I started with.
Yeah, of course
Indeed.
I'm going to rob him. I'm having them both. Swipe.
That's fine. Help yourself.
So I've probably been distracted by this explosion, and I'm just kind of crouch down there with him, just kind of look down, and then look back, and then look down. His gloves are gone.
I thought he was wearing gloves.
Yeah.
What
Merwig's
happened to that big
wasn't.
pouch that was on his belt? Oh, right. Just a hobbit stood there, I know.
I'm gonna.
Wizard did it.
Stroking a chin with some nice new gloves on.
I don't know what happened to his gloves.
Stash them.
John, fairly like nonplussed. The walls exploded. I'm just going to kind of calmly stand up, address the Magister, and Magister, clearly someone needs to ride back to the capital and tell people of this news. I'm quite happy to get a horse right now. If you
Yeah,
need
me too. I'll go with him.
Clean Breeze is on the horse. Bye!
He says, no, I've got something. I've got something far more important. Or follow me to the inner sanctum. And he shouts to some of like the other random like wall spods are around. He's like, "You men secure those breaches," and he like gestures to you lot to follow him. And he starts hobbling back towards
Is it
them.
safe in there, old magistrate?
He's like, "Stop messing about, Clean Breeze. Get yourself up and follow me."
do the people actually seem to have followed his command?
Yeah, the people at the wall, obviously they weren't really expecting this, but you can see there's people wearing similar garb to yourselves, sort of grabbing weapons and running to man these breaches, these two now huge holes that are in this wall.
Magister Crassus, should we not be potentially leaving?
He says, "There's time for that later, young Buffett. Quickly, follow me to the inner sanctum." And he says quickly, but then he's like,
I'll just kind of like lean onto your shoulder and be like, "Oh, Finn, come on, let's just come on here. He's not going to get into the battle. He's going to have a nice, cosy place to hide. Let's follow him."
All right, well, we'll follow him. Yeah.
"Okay."
Come on, old man! I'm sort of like ushering him on, like trying to like, get under his arm and like make him go faster.
He's like, "You're not still too old to go over my knee, Clean Breeze." And as you sort of like hustle him through,
Yeah, go on.
Yeah,
I know we're not rushing, but we haven't got all life.
Orchid, just pick him up.
I've only got a human's lifespan.
yeah, Orchid like grabs him under the arm and he's like, "This is no way from dignified Magister." As you like carry him through.
It's not, but it's happening. Come on.
And then,
We
but
go,
yeah,
go on.
you carry him to the inner sanctum. You open it, and again, it's pretty much the reading room that you were in previously, Boffin. The wall is full of ancient tomes and scrolls that the Magisters spend their time studying, trying to glean wisdom from these ancient prophecies of the first hero. As he leads you in, he's like, "Put me down, Beetleman."
Just drop him on the floor unceremoniously.
You put him down. He's like, "Yeah." Like dusts his robes down. Then he starts looking around on the shelves, and eventually he finds a large, ornately carved wooden box, and he starts taking it down, and he says, "Now this is the great treasure that the Magister Order has protected for hundreds of years since the first age of man."
Pleasure. Oh, yeah,
Pleasure.
right. Yeah, must be that safe, mustn't we? Definitely. Yeah.
When the Dark One was first defeated, his essence rained down on the land and crystallized into this, and he pulls back the lid of this ornately carved wooden box. That's an elven flowing script on it. And Theodos, you would be able to read this because you are an elf. You know that it is.
Can I read bits of it from like when I went to mage school?
Yeah, that's fine.
Like Pig Latin.
Yeah. So you can basically tell that it's like an elven chant of protection. So the box is obviously designed to contain what's within. And it's like he opens it up, and inside are what appear to be 5 dark amethyst crystal shards.
Getting one of these each then, are we?
He's like, "No, don't be so ridiculous." He's like, whilst there is great power within these shards, they are tainted by the essence of the Dark One. We have kept them self-contained within this enchanted locked box for 100 years. Even us Magisters don't dare to have direct contact with them, lest we be corrupted by the essence of the Dark One.
As he's like, "Dark One," I'll be like, "Yeah." I'll just slowly like slide the lid of the box back down.
Okay.
Knowing that it's got a protection thing, I'll be like,
So as you're just
let's just
pushing,
keep them locked away.
I think
so you start closing the lid, and you've got about half closed, and you're going, let's just keep it locked. When you hear, and another rock hits the sort of area that you are in. It plunges on fire. It plunges through the roof. There is a tremendous explosion. You're all thrown about the place. You all take 2 hit points of damage.
Yeah. Imagine flying through there. And it was at this point I thought,
Fuck this shit, I'm out.
Who said we were going to be safe in here?
As you all start sort of picking yourselves up, you can see this huge sort of gaping hole in the roof. You can see the Magister is like his whole lower body is under where this rock's landed, like crushing his lower body. The roofing supports, the beams are lying everywhere. There's broken wood. There's thick dust in the air. You're all sort of coughing and spluttering. It's difficult to see because like bits of paper are cascading down from all the books that have gone everywhere. Bits of wood are falling down. There's a few small fires as bits of wood have caught. You can hear as like your hearing starts to come back and the sort of ringing sound of the explosion starts to fade off. You can hear the sounds of fighting coming from nearby at the wall. The sounds of men screaming and bestial roars, and the sound of steel clashing upon steel.
Orchid's going to try and remove the stone that's on top of the Magister.
Okay, you start moving forward, Orchid, and as you do, there's like a bit of you feel like a twinge of pain in your sort of midriff. And as you look down, you can see there's like a dark black patch on your chest.
I'm probably going to go up to Crassus. Is he still awake in that?
He's sort of lying there. You can see like there's like a bit of blood just trickled out of his mouth, but he's like
doing the signs.
I'll be like, Crassus, what do you want us to do with these dark crystal whiz-wazzes?
You start to shout that out, and as you do so, you feel like a pain in the side of your neck.
Yeah. Owie.
Anyone who looks over at Merwig, you see like a dark patch on her neck.
Okay.
oh my God, you got the taint.
John, when the explosion went off, I probably would have been trying, obviously I didn't, to keep hold of the box and close it. So whether I managed to keep hold of it and close it eventually, I don't know. Have I still got the box?
You are holding a few fragments of fractured wood. That is all.
Okay.
However, you notice that there appears to be like something wrong with your vision. Like as you're sort of looking around, occasionally you can't. It's almost like a sort of dimness falls across your vision. Anyone who looks at Theodis, you see that there's like a large black mark there covering one of his eyes.
Yeah,
Are these black marks we've got all similar in colour to the stones that were in the box, perchance?
Indeed, they are.
I see that. I'm like,
I tried to shut the door on the plot device.
Effectively, all of you have one of these dark patches, and
where's mine? It's not down there, is it?
it can be wherever you like. However, you are in no doubt, Theodis, that what has happened is the explosion has sort of thrown these crystals out, and that one of them has become embedded in each of you.
When I said we wanted one each, I didn't mean it really.
I'm going to go up to Crassus again and be like, what do we do? How do I get this out? What's going on?
He sort of coughs a bit and doesn't immediately answer you, being rather more occupied by having half of his body pumped by a giant rock than your problem with a black spot on yourself. But he's like, oh, yeah. And he points at a book which is like hot. There's a bit of fire on it. It's like caught fire.
I'll run over to the book and get the book. I like reading books.
Okay. You pull it down and it's
I
written.
grab it. It's in my hand. Black spot. Oh my God! It's in my hand.
You pull the book down, it's written in the ancient language of magic, the language which is rumoured to be that of the dragons, those ancient beasts.
I did most of them schooling. I did most of those classes.
He holds out his hand and he gestures for it.
I'll take it over to him.
He turns to a particular page and then he just like pushes the book back to you with like the last of his remaining strength. You see he's like getting paler. He's like,
Yeah.
I will uncharacteristically go over to him and kind of like cradle his head and just be like, I don't know what's happened to these things, but you protected them and we'll fix it.
he's like, it's the Dark Lord. You need to get the crown and take it to the.
So that, what is that?
Great.
Take it to her. Castle.
Crown? What crown? Where?
He says you've got to go to.
But like,
I'm going to immediately read the book and see what this page
yeah,
says.
clean breeze. If you can check that out.
Checking it out. What do I roll a d20?
Can anyone?
That's fine. You can just read it.
Yeah,
All right.
like,
Cool.
Can anyone? Is it in my eye?
You
Yeah,
got something in your eye, mate. It's just a bit of a black bit.
You got a little bit of
Got a
dark
black bit.
taint
Like
in
on
your
your
eye.
neck.
What? Yeah. What?
You've got it on your neck as well.
Is that what that
Yeah.
is? Oh, I wonder what that was. That hurts.
You got the taint.
Well,
We've all
you've got it too.
We've all got the taint. All right.
The strangest
Point
thing
your fingers.
is
So call you taint breeze.
that you all have one of your tape breeze. You all have one. You all have one of these crystal shards embedded in you, and you all actually, saying you've just been like exploded.
Yeah.
You all actually feel pretty good, actually, to be honest. And you can all add an extra +1 to your basic, weapon, magic, and ultimate effort. Okay, so while all this is going on, what's Jay up to?
Still crawling out of the dust.
Okay, so where is the black patch on Jay?
Jawline.
Yep. So your crystal sort of embedded there under your jaw, and you've got like a black sort of mark there.
Yeah.
Ian Breeze, you have read this book in the ancient language of
Yeah.
the dragons, and it appears to tell a legend of shortly after the fall of the Dark Lord, when the first hero defeated the Dark Lord, he took the great crown of evil that the Dark Lord wore, that concentrated and boosted his magical powers. And he determined that it should be taken to the dwarves of Forgehold, the most masterful forgers in the land, for only they would have the knowledge to safely destroy it. He gave it to his most trusted servant, his second, who began to make the perilous journey across the mountains of the mist towards Forgehold. However, something happened on that journey, and the legend does not speak of what it is. But the trusted servant never reached his destination, and the crown was lost to the knowledge of man.
So it's lost on the way to Forgehold.
Indeed. You also see, like, as you continue reading, there's like, these legends, they sort of grow in the telling, and normally there's more than one version of the legend. This is like someone's collected like different versions of it. In some versions of the legend, they planned to take the crown to the dwarves, not to destroy it, but to forge a mighty weapon from it, so that if the Dark Lord ever returned, this monolithic evil that could not be injured by weapons made by normal man, they would forge a great weapon out of his own crown, and they would keep it secure against the day he returned.
I see. So I've got to make our way to Forgehold.
Well, that's apparently not where the crown ended up. No one knows exactly what happened to it. The trusted servant was supposed to take it across the mountains of mist to Forgehold. However, he never reached his destination, and no one knows what became of the crown.
So is that what these bits are? Is that the crown?
The crown, as described, seems to be made of metal, so you suspect
Right, so
these are
yeah,
crystals.
Right, yeah. So we'd find a crown.
How are we going to do that?
I don't know. I'm not a treasure hunter.
We'll have to retrace the steps of whoever this was taking the crown across the mountains.
If you can read that book, you just tell us where to go. And as long as it's not here,
I mean,
I'm happy to go.
I mean, it's not got like a step-by-step guide to get there. It's just a load of stories, old stories.
Well, I'll tell you one direction I'm not going. North. Let's bounce.
Let's go get some horses.
Okay, so you head back out into the main courtyard, which is now a scene of bloody battle. You see these giant ogre-like creatures wearing crude fur and carrying sharp, bloody implements of war. They are engaged in a pitched battle with the fairly pitiful defenders of the wall, because, like I say, they've become pretty much a joke or a punishment detail by this time. You watch as you walk out as a huge ogre carrying this large, ugly sword hacks a man in two with one mighty blow, almost bisecting him down the middle. The man screams as he falls to the ground, his blood splattering on the snow. The chaos and sound of battle is everywhere.
I'm going to sneaky skulk around this if I can, because...
Okay.
And I'm going to try and get to the stables.
Yeah,
Okay,
try and get to the stables.
Okay, if you're trying to sneak, you will need to make a dexterity roll. The difficulty for this location is now 15.
Oh, give me a neck. Right, I'm going to put my thieves' hood up as well.
Okay.
So I get
It'll be difficulty 12 for you.
Okay, I am just going to try and, sneak. Not very
Just going to wade in.
I got 12 on the roll. I've got no dexterity, yes, just 12.
Okay, so you have not succeeded. Basically, if you don't succeed on this roll, you have encountered some resistance as you're heading across, because it's difficult to avoid the battle because it's everywhere.
Yeah.
got 16 on the roll, so...
Oh, you're fine. You sort of nimbly, slip into the shadows, probably run through the legs of an ogre, quickly run to the stables. You're there. But
I'm going to start prepping the horses. I'm going to be nice because these are sort of my mates, so I'll prep the horses to leave.
Okay, no
Effectively,
problem.
going slowly, but I've got my bow out and I'm going to be throwing some arrows out to help who I think needs it, / if I need it.
Okay, so Jay, as you're about to wade in, you see Clean Breeze with his little mage robes on, sort of trying to dodge between, and as he's looking around to avoid one person, he runs smack bang into the leg of this huge ogre garbed in armoured metal plates and furs. This thing looks down at him and then goes, and you feel its hot breath in your face. It lifts up this huge wooden club that has a jagged piece of metal hammered through it.
I scream so loud, dogs always start to hear it.
So obviously, because you were wading in, Jay, you get to react first. You can literally see Clean Breeze as this ogre's
dodge into that ogre.
Okay, no problem. If you want to make an attack roll a d20. If it's melee, it's strength. If it's ranged, it's dex. You need to beat 15.
16.
Okay, so roll your weapon damage.
What's that?
It'll say weapon on your sheet.
Oh, 2.
So yeah, it'll have a dice type next to it. So it'll be d6 plus 2 for you.
Okay. 4.
Okay, no problems. So what are you attacking with? What weapon are you using?
Myself.
So are you just literally punching it, or?
No, I'm literally ramming in straight into it.
Oh, right, okay, lovely. Okay, yeah, so you smack into it, you do cause a little bit of damage, it staggers back a bit. The main effect of that is obviously it now considers you to be more of a threat than Clean Breeze is still
I mean, that's true.
Okay, so I'm just going to go in the order of people on my screen. So, Theodos.
Well, in that case, I'm just going to loose an arrow into the already staggered ogre while kind of trying to walk across the where we need to go. So, from between the ruinous, what we're leaving behind, and the stables, I'm just kind of walking and trying to shoot.
Cool walk across as you line up your shot.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. Make your dex roll.
Some folk.
Just casual pin.
You need
walk.
15 or more.
That is 4.
Okay, so you loose your arrow. However, as it's heading towards this ogre, one of the slightly more diminutive, like goblinoid creatures that seem to be accompanying them runs in the way. It catches the arrow, screams, and falls down into the snow, but the ogre itself is unaffected. Clean breeze. What are you doing?
What we're doing? I'm going to try and scramble up onto my feet and
Done.
Yeah. I'll try and use my magical attack on it.
Okay, so roll a d20, add your intelligence, 15 or more.
Okay, I've got 15 on that. So that's 18 altogether. How's it go?
Yeah, so
Okay, magical missile!
okay, so roll your magic damage.
So there you go. Right, so I'm rolling. Magical damage is D8, isn't it?
Yeah, don't forget if you get a natural 8, you get to roll it again and add it on. Plus whatever modifier you've got. Let me know what you get.
So I'm just going to have a look through a crack in the stable wall and see where they're at, because I think my chances of survival are greater if I'm with this lot. So-
Okay, you can see that Theodus, Jay, and Clean Breeze are like surrounding this huge, ugly ogre creature, and like Orchid's Beetleman's just like making his way across.
Yeah.
I got a 3 on my attack.
Okay, so Merwig, as you peer out through the crack in the wooden slats, you see Clean Breeze sort of like managed to pull himself together from this like terrified crouch, thrusts his staff up towards this ogre. The end of it glows this bright, almost like ozone blue colour.
I mean, I was going to say, depending on the damage, it depends on how bright it is, so it probably won't be that bright with 3, so it'll be like medium.
Oh, so we can do magic. Who knew?
The light fires into this ogre, and you see it stagger back a couple of paces like a big scorch mark on its shoulder. It howls in pain. Beetleman, what are you doing? You see this combat going on in front of you?
He'll wade in and have a go at the ogre as well as and sort of like barge past everybody and sort of like try and hack at him.
Yep, go for it. Difficulty's 15.
Oh, 15 on the nose.
Okay, roll that damage.
And the damage is... Ooh, it's quite a bit, I think. Let's have a look. That's 11 damage on him.
Nice.
So his longsword sort of like really sort of gets a good strike straight in the
Yep.
side of him.
You deliver a vicious swipe into the side of him. You see you're drenched in this ogre's foul, dark blood, and it falls down onto one knee. You can see that it's like struggling to like hold its own weapon up, but it's still tenaciously clinging onto life. Jay, what are you doing? You can see that Beetleman's nearly finished it off with this mighty swipe of his sword, but it's still going.
It's not really much of a risk anymore, though, but I will kick it in the face.
Okay, go for it.
$18.
Roll your damage.
8.
Okay. You kick it in the sort of jumping up and kicking it in the face, at which point it collapses down into the snow with a dull.
I'm going to open the door of the stable a crack and just shout, "Fucking hurry up! Let's get a dodge!"
As Merwig shouts that from the direction of the stable, Jay, you can see where the ogre's fallen, and you've sort of like deftly landed next to it. There's what appears to be a small, well, for the ogre, but obviously like normal size for you. There's like a small wooden chest like fixed to its belt.
Bit strange. I'll poke the mage towards it.
Okay, so Clean Breeze Jay sort of like taps you and points at this wooden chest on the ogre's belt.
Yeah, don't have to tell me twice. I'll grab it. Try and
Yep.
grab it off the ogre.
No problem. You grab this wooden chest. You can hear Merwig shouting from the direction of the stables.
I'm running towards to the voice of the hobbit.
Okay, no problem. you all run over in the direction of the stables in time to meet Merwig coming out, so like leading enough horses for you all.
Can I have let an arrow go, like, just while I'm travelling across, just let some arrows go to try and help some of the remaining watch that are getting mauled by these ogres?
Yeah, that's fine. You do sink some of your arrows into the ogres, but you're in a little doubt as you're sort of heading towards the horses. That like the wall has been lost. It's been breached twice, and as you sort of like peer out through the holes in the wall, you can see more of these ogres now surging out of the tree line. And you can see some at the back, sort of like pushing these huge like wooden ballistas, these siege engines forward out of the tree line as they rumble across the snow. You have no doubt that after all these hundreds of years, the wall has fallen.
Theodus, this is above our pay grade, let's go.
We need to get to Northernshire then and let them know what's happening.
You all mount up and you start riding away from the wall, riding south across the Great Plain. As you leave the wall behind, you can hear the sounds of collapsing masonry, of the screams of the dying and the bestial howling of the victorious ogres as they finally overwhelm the last defenders of the wall.
Yeah, everyone that I see on the road, like, I'm going to shout at them, the wall has fallen, spread the word.
5 lone travellers on 4 normal size horses and 1 giant shire horse, heading southwards across the Great Plain, gripped in the depths of winter. Your horses struggle slightly to make it through the snow, but bred in the north to survive the harsh conditions of the wall, they proceed. You continue southwards towards the Northern Shire, and as you, it takes many days, but obviously we're going to cut to straight to the action, so we pick up with you guys reaching the outskirts of the Northern Shire. It looks to be a peaceful collection of huts, wattle and daub buildings, a small village, nothing mighty. It's no great capital city of the lands of men, but supposedly this is where the first great hero was born hundreds of years ago, and as such it occupies a special place in the legends of the Free People. As you're heading to the outskirts of the Northern Shire, you can see numerous farm buildings dotted about, and you see a slightly elderly hobbit gentleman gathering firewood. He's just got a small pile of wood next to him, and he's obviously stopping. He's like stretching his back out a little bit, so taking a drag on his pipe. He stops for a break. You see, like rubbing his hands together. He's like blows out a large cloud of fragrant smelling spicy smoke.
Ooh, old Toby.
Indeed. Finest weed in the Northern Shire, as it drifts across the landscape. And for you guys who've been subsisting on the meagre rations that you're able to gather, it has a warm, homely smell that almost seems to beckon you towards the Northern Shire. You've been travelling for 5 days across the Great Plains. Cold and hunger have been your constant companions, only able to feed on the scraps and the meagre rations that you were able to grab on your hasty flight from the wall. As you're sort of riding towards this fellow, he looks up, takes his pipe out from his lips, and his face adopts a curious expression as he sees you lot with all your sort of like black cloaks on, and you're obviously wearing the insignia of the wall, sort of riding towards him. And people who are on the wall tend to stay on the wall, so he looks a bit sort of cautious and curious as you approach.
Oh my gosh.
What do you do?
I'll grab my forelock and nod.
He's like, morning.
Excuse me, sir.
He said, oh, bless you, there ain't no sirs around here. He says, Reed's the name, Wilton Reed.
Wilton, If someone wanted to get a message out to the entirety of Northshire, who should we be reporting to?
He says, "Oh well, you need to go and see Alderman Hunt at the Great Hall."
Yeah.
Good, and bit of information for you, old timer. There's a war coming. The wall has fallen.
He's like, "Oh wow, a war? Don't be ridiculous. There ain't been no wars around these parts."
You need to get out of here, man. They're coming. The Dark Lord and his minions are coming.
Okay, at this point, whichever one of you, and it's up to you guys to pick between yourselves, whichever one of you is trying to convince this guy of, like, the fact that you're telling the truth.
Same daddy, innit? You know what I mean?
So the difficulty of this scene is 12, and you need to make a charisma roll to try and convince this person. Bear in mind, this is a peaceful farmer who's known nothing but peace in his lifetime.
Yeah, I'm going to try and give him a good old convincing.
Oh, you're good at that, aren't you?
I am.
Yeah, he's got a pink jacket. Just look at the jacket, man. It says a lot.
Got 21.
Okay, so
Actually, what does the masterful jacket give me? That gives me...
+1
Plus-
to charisma or something? Or something to charisma?
Is it +1?
yeah, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, well,
+3.
22 then.
Did you roll a natural 20?
I didn't. I got a 14, John.
Okay.
I've just got lots of charisma.
Damn!
That's absolutely fine. So what do you say to him that finally convinces him of the truth of your words? Because when you first say it, he's like, "Oh, there ain't been no war around here, sir." What is it you say to him, or what do you do to hammer home this?
Effectively, we're like, look us. When was the last time you've seen people from the wall come this far south? Do our horses, do our kit, does our gear look like people who haven't seen hell and have had to run from it? We are coming here to tell Northern Shire the war is coming.
He takes a look at you all, and you've got like scorch marks and various minor wounds across yourselves from the battle that you fled. His face goes a bit pale, and he drops his pipe in the snow. He turns round to the small farmhouse a short distance across, and he runs towards it, going, Mabel, get the kids in the car ready. We gotta go. There's a war coming." And he runs inside, and you hear like the sounds of like stuff being moved around and like frantic conversation. And suddenly you see this small family of halflings pile out, and they start like, they've got like an old cart with like a donkey on the front of it, and they start like piling their belongings into this cart, and he's like, "Come on, Mabel, get the kids on board, we gotta go. There's the people from the wall has fallen, there's a war coming, we gotta go."
Nice, nice.
He's got it going.
I'll just kind of like look across to Jay and just be like, "See, I'm not against warning folk."
Yeah.
Right, are we going to have then to find this great hall?
As you're saying that, you see the Hobbit Wilton Reed and his family sort of like, and all their belongings that they can carry crammed in his cart. They start moving away slowly. This like old like knackered donkey like moving the cart, and as he's riding away into the distance, you can hear his voice going, "There's a war coming! There's a war coming! Oh, the wall's falling! There's a war coming!" And like his voice getting more shrill and quieter as he goes.
Good work.
Indeed.
Yeah. I'm going to swipe the Hobbit's pipe he's dropped in the snow.
Okay,
I'm desperate right now.
that is absolutely fine. Let me just check whether there's a pipe on the equipment list. Because if there is, you may get some sort of bonus from it.
+1 to...
In fact, you know, I'm just going to make it up rather than waste time looking. I'm going to say you get +1 charisma because you've got this pipe with some Northern Shire Old Toby in it.
Whoa.
Oh,
And as everyone in the Freelands knows, there's nothing more congenial than settling down for a conversation over a nice pipe of Old Toby. Okay, so this halfling rides off, and you've little doubt that he's shouting like he's basically going to tell everyone he sees. And given how frightened he looks, presumably the word will spread out to other people in Northern Shire. So do you guys want to try and go to this great hall to find this alderman and warn him yourself?
Well, I think so. Considering the chosen one, or whatever he's called, comes from these parts, they might be able to flesh out that legend. It might give us a better path to take.
Okay, so you head towards the main hall. And as you get in it's a large sort of like long hall, like the old Viking long halls, in the centre of this village. And as you start getting near, you can see outside of it is a statue of what appears to be a young halfling. He's wearing armour, holding a short sword in one hand raised towards the heavens, and in the other hand he's holding a stone crown, and he's sort of like holding them up, his mouth open as if shouting in triumph. You see the statue's obviously seen slightly better days. There's a few bits of like lichen and moss growing on it.
Oh, I'll go and have a look and see if there's anything written on it, just in case.
Okay, as you sort of clear away the snow and the moss that's on the base of this statue, you can see that it says,
"In this spot, 105 years ago, the first hero was born. And it was a hobbit! Way!"
Indeed he was. As you're doing that, you see a halfling step out of this long hall, and he's wearing like, you know, those like mayoral like gold chains and like a pretty pimping like fur coat. He walks in, he's got like gold rings on his fingers. He looks a bit pudgy and jowly.
Yeah.
He comes walking out. Again, he's got a pipe. Like pretty much everyone you've seen, like including like the women and kids, seems to have a pipe in the Northern Shire. He walks out with his pipe and he's like... Then he takes a big lungful of the crisp, clean winter air. Rubs his hands together. He looks around, obviously sees all of you, sees Merwig looking at the statue, and he says, he sort of gestures with his pipe, and he says, "Ah, I see you're admiring the statue of the first hero. Grew up in this very shire."
Yeah, interesting. Do you happen to know who Alderman Hunt is and where we might be able to find him?
I am Alderman Hunt, the Alderman of the Northern Shire. And as he sort of moves his hands, like it, you can hear the sound of like metal, like jangling, because he's got all these rings on his fingers.
Yeah.
As he's doing that, I'm like, I don't suppose you've got a second one of those heroes laying around?
We may need one.
He looks at you and he's like, well, the world's not seen the like of the first hero in hundreds of years.
It's not seen the likes of the Dark Lord as well.
Yeah, well, you're going to need one, yeah, because the wall's fallen.
He's like, what? Don't be ridiculous.
I'm
we
not
look
being
ridiculous?
ridiculous. I'm being deadly serious.
Okay, Merwig, make me a charisma roll.
Oh, shit.
Come on, Merwig, you can
Yeah,
do
take
this.
this pipe and...
Where's my little... Oh, shit, I'm on the wrong thing. Right,
Convince the gear out of his
charisma.
pockets.
Oh, I've got one base for charisma,
So
and then what's the
roll
difficulty?
roll a d20 plus 1, you need 12 or more.
Oh, I got 13 on the dice, so 14.
14.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you say to convince him?
Well, I'm just going to say we've just come for a look at our uniforms. It's gone.
He looks a bit worried as you say that, and he's like, I think perhaps you'd better come inside and tell me the whole story. And he gestures for you all to follow him into the long hall.
Well, I'll just be like, is there anyone who can, like, you know, look after our horses and stuff in the meantime?
It's been a very long and hungry journey.
Yeah,
as well.
we need something to eat.
He shouts back into the hall, and a young hobbit comes running out, and he's like, "Lad, take these horses to the stable." And then he like shouts in again, and he's like, "Food, ale, and pipes for our guests."
Oh, ale.
And you're
Do you
all.
have any wine?
Food!
Yeah, my eyes
He
light
looks
up.
at you. He's like, "You're like, have you got any wine?" He's like, "Mm." Then he like looks at your ears, and he's like, "Oh." He's like, well, I think we've got some elderflower wine set aside from the summer, but
That sounds perfect.
and as
Leave into the cliche.
you're led into the hall, you see there's like a long central table, and in response to his shout, there are some halflings sort of like putting like bread and cheese. It's fairly simple fare because it's winter. They've only got what's in their stores. It's like dried meats, cheese, bread. There's a wooden barrel is brought out and set on the table, and some flagons are set out. It's got one of those little like wooden taps on it.
Orchid will fill one of the tankards up, and he'll sort of like guzzle the whole pint in one sort of gulp, and then have another one.
I'm going to put together a plate of food that's bigger than everyone else's.
the alderman sits down in a slightly ornate wooden chair at the head of the table, and he puts his hands on the table and he says, "Now then, tell me the whole story. You said you came from the wall."
Well, yeah, we obviously we're all guards on the wall. We've been there. Well, I've been there years. And a lone Norseman came to our gate, talking of, the Dark Lord and all that stuff, and he had an injury, and we just thought, whatever. We didn't believe it at first, and then I don't know, trebuchets, flaming balls came through the wall, and we fled. We were completely outnumbered.
Augurs, man. Augurs. 9 foot tall.
Okay,
Yeah.
at
It was a
this
tactical
point,
withdrawal.
at this point, Merwin, can you please roll me a d6 and let me know what you get?
Okay. I got a 1.
Okay, so as you're telling this story, the background music swells as you relate everything that happened at the wall. However, just as you're getting to the end of your story and the older man's expression has turned grave and he's been nodding along as you're talking, one of the halflings at the back goes, "I know you! You're Merwin Boffin! You stole that horse off me last winter!"
You are mistaken, sir.
He's like, "I'd know that face anywhere!" And he's like, "Someone arrest her! She's a thief! A thief!"
Listen, you idiot. She's already been arrested. That's why she's on the wall.
Can I turn round and attempt to intimidate him, effectively in the manner of, there are more important things going on here today. There are ogres coming to kill us all. Forget about your horse.
Yeah, go for it. Make your charisma roll. Difficulty 12.
$19.
Hey.
So how do you intimidate this person? Is it a steely glare?
No, it will legitimately just be like turning around, going like, "There is the army of the Dark One airing down our backs, and you are asking me about a horse from 2 years ago. Shut up unless you have anything good to say."
They're like, they make themselves a bit scarce.
She's done for the cheese, she has.
Indeed. What we're going to assume Merwig's like stuffing her face while this is going on. This halfling makes themselves scarce as you intimidate them. The elder man says, "Well, this is obviously a serious matter, but we're a simple community of farmers, of leathersmiths, we would have no defences against these giant ogres that you speak of." And he gestures with a pudgy hand at Clean Breeze, who was banging on about the ogres.
You have horses, you have messengers, you have people that get the message out to the rest of the Empire.
You need to run, man. You need to get
says,
to Lion's Gate.
One of the other halflings, a crowd of people have been gathered around, saying, "Oh, strangers!" And then they've heard this story, and they're all trying to listen in. The older man's doing nothing to prevent it. One of the halflings, a young woman, leads, and he says, "Oh, Alderman, we could always ride for Gondar in the south. We might seek protection behind their walls. I know it's been a long time since we've called on the old alliance between our lands, but they might offer us shelter." And he's like, yes, that might be the safest option, Liliana. Yes, I think you're right. And he's like, he talks to the assembled army, which by now is pretty much the entire village, and he's like, "Send word out, everyone. Gather what provisions you can. Take only what's necessary. Round up all the carts, the horses, the donkeys. If you've got dogs, round them up and hitch them to a damn cart as well. I don't care. We ride south for Gondar. The wall has fallen. We must seek shelter with the humans to the south." At which point a few people are like, "Oh, what abandon our village?" And he's like, "Well, we can always return and reclaim the village later, but my priority as the elder man has to be the safety of everyone in the Northern Shire. On the morning, we head south to Gondar." And then he turns back to all of you as like the halflings start scattering to make their preparations, and he's like, "As I've said, in the morning we will be leaving. We thank you for this timely warning. If they had taken us unprepared, we would not have stood a chance. We are not warriors, we are simple folk. But You are welcome, since we leave in the morning, but for this evening you are welcome to rest here in the Great Hall. Eat and drink what you will. But where do you head come the morning? Will you ride with us to Gondor?
I'll kind of like look at everyone else when he says like, "Where are you heading?" I'm like,
We have something to find, so we might not be able to go that way.
unfortunately, I think we probably do have a greater quest other than the war itself. I'll look. What do you say, Jay?
We need to find the dwarves.
I agree.
Yeah.
The alderman says, well, the dwarves. Well, you'll need to head to Forgehold. Then that's their last great city. But it's some distance to the north of here in the mountains of the Mist. If you head east, you'll have to head through the Kingswood Forest to get there. It's a dangerous place full of bandits and all sorts of unsavoury folk.
Can't be any worse than that wall.
You are clearly a civilized settlement. Do you have maps of such places?
He says, well, yes, the maps we have are old, since we don't travel much, but I can furnish you with a map of the area that would get you to Forgehold, but I cannot speak for the dangers of the Mountains of the Mist. I've never been there myself.
If you can furnish us with the maps, we'll deal with the dangers.
Okay, so he talks to some of the other hobbits, and they eventually bring in like this old dusty scroll with a simple string around it, and they hand it over to you, and you open it up and you see that it has a very crude representation of the Northern Shire with Gondor, the human city, to the south, then this Kingswood Forest surrounding the southern edge of the Mountains of the Mist, and towards the north is a sort of stylized representation of two crossed axes, and it says Forgehold above it. It appears to lie just to the east of Kazakrad, which is believed to be the largest mountain in the known world.
Nice.
Okay.
Should be easy to find then, shouldn't it?
Yeah,
Big-
it's just
big
there,
mountain.
isn't it? It's there.
Well, I'll continue picking through the meats and cheeses, but with a good amount of elven disdain for the food itself.
Indeed, it's a bit rustic for the tastes.
I'm just picking through it. Find
I'll be eating, drinking, and smoking at the same time as much as I can.
Okay, as this is going on, in the distance, Jay, you hear this.
I will go and stick my head out the door at that point and see if there's anything happening.
Okay, you stick your head out the door, sort of shielding your gaze against the snow, pulling your hood up. As you look in the distance, you can see what at first appeared to be a group of maybe half a dozen lean, mangy-looking grey wolves that appeared to be running towards the Shire. But as you strain your eyes, you can see small figures that appear to be mounted on the back of each of these wolves. As they move beneath the moonlight, you see the glimmering of metal blades held by these tusked goblinoid creatures that ride on the back of these mangy wolves. You think you have maybe a minute before they reach the Shire?
sad times.
Okay. Guys, the war's here. I'll be outside fighting.
So Orchid will down.
They're here. We need to get the hell out of here.
Orchid will sort of drain his tankard before joining Jay outside.
Okay.
Clean Breeze will be piling stuff into a bag like some of the meats and stuff.
Yeah, and while you're doing that, I'll just corner up the tablecloth and just tie it into a big... There we go.
I don't like pulling bits off as you do that.
Okay, no problems. I've just unmuted Merwig as well.
Hello.
Okay, so...
I'll probably start prepping to leave again with Clean Breeze.
Okay, no problem. So as you're all prepping, Jay and Orchid, you step outside and you can see these small goblinoid creatures, and you can now hear the voices of, "Ah!" as they're spurring their wolven mounts into a full run. You can see them galloping towards the outskirts of the Shire. This must perhaps be an advance guard of the larger dark force. There are only 6 of them, but you see all of them hold like wicked curved short blades in their hands. The tongues of their wolven mounts hang out, saliva dripping to the floor as they run. Okay, so Orchid and Jay, you can each take 1 action before these wolves reach the outskirts.
Charge the head one, so I can hopefully take him off his wolf.
Okay, no problems. You run forward to meet them. Make your attack roll. You need to get 12 or more. If you succeed, roll your damage and never know what you get.
19 on the dice. So
That'll do.
Damage is 8.
Okay, so you leap up and you knock the first of the goblins off its wolf. The wolf scatters and runs off into the distance, deprived of its rider. This goblin's like lying on the ground. You've pretty much got like your boot on his chest, and he's like trying to get his short sword to like hack at your leg. Orchid, what are you doing?
So Orchid's going to go for the wolf as opposed to the rider. So he's going to sort of go down on one knee and sort of slice at the wolf. Oh, and gets a 21, so that's a palpable hit.
Indeed.
With his long sword, just 6. So, and that causes 10 points of damage on the wolf.
Okay, so with that amount, you can take out both wolf and rider. So describe how you take them out.
So it's like a sweeping action, sort of from the ground upwards, and the blade goes straight through the wolf, and then catches the goblin rider on the top, sort of launching the goblin rider off the other side.
And that's exactly what happens. You dispatch both wolf and rider. There is now one that's pretty much on his way out that Jay has got hold of. However, 4 of them still remain, and they gallop straight into the 2 of you. Orchid, what's your armor rating?
15.
Okay. So 2 of them attack you, however, as they sort of like they're moving around you and lashing out, and the wolves are biting at you. They're unable to penetrate your armor. Jay, what's your armor rating?
14.
Okay. One of the wolves bites into your thigh, causing you 6 hit points of damage.
Oh.
Okay. So the rest of you guys have sort of got your stuff together now. As you're sort of looking outside, you can see this wolf bite into Jay as he's got like his foot on one of these goblins. Orchid's just dispatched one with a plum.
Yeah, I imagine I kind of like pretty quickly got there as well. Like he was just kind of like tie it off, go outside, see what's going on, and effectively once I get there, I'll unclip my battle axe from my pimp jacket.
Nice.
And wade in.
Go for it.
This is a weapon tool roll, or is it a strength roll?
It's a strength roll, and then the weapon damage is your damage if you hit. So 12 or more needed on your attack.
15.
Roll your damage.
Which is the weapon you just discussed.
That's correct, yeah.
It's 4.
Okay, so you slice one of these goblins with your battle axe, scoring a shallow wound on it. It drops off, falls off its wolf. The wolf runs away, but the goblin like rolls to its feet and it's like circling around you with this vicious blade. Like, yeah! Okay, Clean Breeze, what are you doing?
So the wolf's on Jay at the moment, trying to bite him.
Yeah, there's one of the wolves has clamped its teeth onto Jay.
I'm gonna get my my staff and do okay missile.
Okay, make your intelligence roll.
9 on the roll, and that's 12 altogether.
Okay, so roll your magical damage.
Yeah, that's a D8. Roll 6. Got 6 on the roll.
Okay.
Any pluses to add to it?
Yep.
Got any pluses to add to it?
Hang on a minute. Where is it? So what do you mean by pluses?
Have you got any modifiers to your magical damage?
Yeah, did you add any modifiers to it?
Well, my magic effect is 3 altogether.
So you add 3 to your d6.
Ah, right. Yeah, I get you now. So so that's 9 altogether. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, big
so
blast of magical energy from my staff.
so describe how you take out this wolf that's bit into Jay.
Yeah. I'll jump off the steps, scream as loud as I can. Okay, Matt's missile, and it'll kind of like burst out, hitting it, blasting it against the wall, and then kind of like rip through some of its flesh.
Okay, so that's what happens. Clean Breeze leaps out with his staff, shouts arcane missile, fires this blue bolt of energy into the wolf that's sunk its teeth into Jay, and it incinerates both the rider and the wolf that were menacing him. You all think back to that many times that Magister Crassus tried to explain to Clean Breeze that you don't need to shout out the name of your spell when you cast it, but he never really seemed to get it, and he still insisted on doing it. But still, it's hard to deny
What I'm doing.
it's hard to deny the impressiveness as this wolf and this goblin are just incinerated by this blast of magical energy. Jay, you're no longer being menaced by this wolf, and you've still got this goblin under your feet. Merwig, what are you doing?
So I'm going to ask the hobbits that are hiding in here with me. We need medical supplies. We need medikit stuff. So I'm going to ask them to get some of that stuff for us. And then I'm probably going to sneak my head out of the door a bit and try and shoot one of the goblins with my bow and arrow.
Okay, so make an attack. It's a d20 plus your dex.
Oh, that wasn't so great. So 7 altogether.
Okay, so you fire an arrow, but it doesn't hit anybody, unfortunately. It just sinks into the snow.
Rubbish.
You get F participation.
Tried.
That's it, you're involved.
Indeed. Okay, Orchid, what are you doing?
So how many more of these wolves are left?
There are 3, and there's the goblin that Jay's got his foot on. Although he doesn't look like he's long for this world, to be honest.
So Orchid will go for one of the other wolves then. If it's one of the uninjured wolves.
Okay, no problem. Make your attack roll.
Okay. And that's a 12 on the nose.
That'll do it. Roll your damage.
And another 10 points of damage.
Okay, describe how you take out another wolf and rider.
This one, he just sort of, as he's walking past it, he just lobs the head off, and the head rolls across the dirt.
Indeed, and you're using your double-handed sword, is that correct?
No, it's one-handed. He's got his shield in the hand, so it's sort of like.
Wait,
like
it's one-handed for you.
Yeah,
Yeah, for everyone else,
yeah.
it's not like
Okay, yeah. So as this wolf gallops towards you, you one mighty swing, you slice its head off, and as the rider's trying to jump towards you, you reverse your blade and also slice the rider's head off. Both wolf and goblin heads roll to a stop on the snow. Okay, Jay, you've got this one that's under your foot, still struggling. There's another 2 of them left. One that's off its wolf, one that's still riding around. What do you do?
I'll decapitate this one and then move on to the next one.
Okay, I'm not going to make you make a roll for decapitating that one because he had 1 hit point left. So yeah, you just decapitate him, that's fine. And you can make an attack on one of the others. There's 2 left, one goblin on foot that's sort of circling Theodos, and one that's still riding around on its wolf, picking its target. Which one do you want to go for?
I'll go for the one attacking Theodos.
Okay, make your attack roll. Are you using a ranged weapon or are you just wading in?
I'll just wade in with my longsword.
Okay, go for it.
15, roll. 7.
Okay, describe how you dispatch this goblin that's circling around Theodos as you come in and take it by surprise.
I will put my sword through its back, lift it slightly off the ground and push it away.
Okay, so Theodos, as this goblin's suddenly this sword just goes through its chest. It's lifted up into the air, and then Jage like boots it off the end of his sword. It falls forward into the snow, twitches for a few moments, and then lies still.
Nice. I'll give a kind of like good nod.
Okay, so there's one of them left. I'm going to just roll a d6 to see which of you it attacks. Okay, so I'm afraid Merwig, it's coming for you. You look up, you just finished talking to these other halflings who are like, oh yeah, we'll go and see if we can get you some medical supplies. Then as you look back, you see this goblin on this wolf holding a sword out, like, riding straight towards you, screaming in this bestial, high-pitched voice.
Melt the dry meats.
I'll probably...
He's after the cheese.
It's after the cheese.
Okay, as it rides past you, it slices you with its wicked curved blade, causing you 3 hit points of damage.
Oh no.
No.
Merwig, no.
Eat more cheese.
I mean, luckily those hobbits are coming to bring medical aid.
Yeah, no. That was fortuitous, wasn't it?
Oh, you know, like medical aid? Yeah, use it. Use it.
Yeah.
On me.
Put it on me right now.
Okay, so as we move back round to the top of the round with Theodos, in the distance, Theodos, you can hear... and as you look sort of about maybe 20 minutes to the north of you, at the speed they're going, you can see more of these wolves approaching, like, obviously like a second party of them.
The other one that's still circling, is it at range or is it in melee?
It's just literally rode past Merwig and sliced her, so you could still do a ranged attack.
Okay, I'll grab out my bow, but I'll also say while I'm launching it, like I'll be like, we need to get out of here.
Okay, make your dex roll.
5.
Okay, you fire an arrow, it heads towards the goblin, but at the last minute it sort of ducks down because it's riding, and the arrow goes over its head. Clean breeze.
It doesn't go flying into Merwig, that's fine.
Since we need to get out of here, Merwig's busy right now. I'm going to go and grab the horses and get them out for us.
Yeah, you run to the stables and grab the horses, that's not a problem. Okay, Merwig.
Yeah.
This goblin has just sliced you, and it's now sort of like turning its wolf around, probably getting ready to come back for another strike. What do you do?
Is it in, like, melee range, then?
It can be if you move up to it. At the minute, you could make a ranged attack if you wish.
Alright, well, I'll probably try and shoot it with my bow and arrow again, then.
Yeah, you pull your bow and arrow out, make a d20 roll plus your dex.
Bring it down.
Shoot her!
Oh, 19, and my dex is 2. So
Okay,
21.
so roll a d6 plus whatever your weapon damage is.
Where do I see where weapon damage is? Is it just...
It'll be on your sheet, it'll say weapon.
Oh, it's just 1 then, yeah.
So d6 plus 1.
Okay. 3, and plus 1, 4 altogether.
Okay, so describe how you kill this goblin as it rides towards you on this wolf.
It's going to go straight, it's going to go right between his eyes.
Okay, so as it rides towards you, this arrow goes, and it carries the goblin back off the wolf, landing in the snow. It twitches for a few moments with this arrow sticking out of its forehead, then lies still. The wolf, now freed of its rider, just gallops past you and disappears off into the distance. As you're sort of doing that and you're looking around, you see there's more of these wolves in the distance coming. Clean Breeze comes running out, leading all the horses.
Get on the horses! Get on the horses!
I concur!
You can see that like many of the halflings have already got their stuff together and they're sort of like riding for the south.
Like,
I've got to swipe the medical supplies that the hobbits said they'd get from the other hobbits said they'd get for me.
Okay, now to save me looking it up, I'm going to ask Pete if he can remember how healing works in this.
How's healing work?
Is it natural healing you want, or
no, any sort of like medical supplies? Or anything?
Is there any medical stuff, like any medical potions or something you can
if you want it, D6 plus your con?
Is that just like a one-use like medical supply?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to say they bring, before these halflings like scatter and try and run this out, they bring out 2 sort of like poultices with like herbs and stuff in them. So you've basically got 2 healing packs, and each time you use one of them, you get D6 plus your con hit points back.
Okay.
Okay.
So once you've used one, is that it gone then?
Yeah, it's gone.
one shot.
Right, well, I won't bother you yet.
Yeah,
Right, let's leg it. Let's leg it.
Let's bounce.
Run!
Fly, you
Fly, you
fools!
fools!
Fly, you fools!
Okay, so you all
Breeze out of there!
You all leap on your horses. You can see this stream of hoveling refugees heading south towards the human city of Gondor. They've abandoned their thing of, oh, let's wait till the morning and then we'll ride out. As they've heard these wolves coming and you guys fighting them, they're like, oh, now will be good. And they're all heading south. Okay, where are you guys planning to head?
Well, first I plan to tourniquet myself. I am missing 6 hit points.
Yeah.
Oh, shit,
Now come to mention it, Merwig. Oh, Jay's not looking too.
Yeah, I
clever.
think he might actually need one. Yeah, that's a bit worse than 3. Yeah.
You can always patch yourself up, and that'll give you 1 plus your con hit points back. And you can do that in the combat as well.
What's your
Do
con?
that. I'll patch myself up then.
Yeah, let's see if we can get your hit points back.
Okay.
Oh, can I patch myself
Yeah, you
up?
patch
I've lost
yourself,
3.
Yeah, you might as well try.
So,
yeah.
so you con and then what?
Plus 1. You con plus 1 hit point.
Yeah.
Oh, I get 3 back. So
You have to roll a d20 and get more than 12. Yeah,
No,
that's
you
it.
just do
don't-
that.
No, you just do it.
Oh, you
get
just
it
do
back.
it.
do it, yeah.
Ah, cool.
Oh, right. So if my con's 1,
You get 2 hit
Get
points
2.
back.
I get 2
You get
hit
2,
points.
yeah.
Oh, I only lost, so I'm only -1 at the minute.
Yeah, 'cause
Oh,
it's like
yeah.
you slap a few bandages on.
Yeah,
like Pete
yeah.
says, you can do it in combat.
Easy beat. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah.
Okay, so as you guys have finished packing yourselves up, you've jumped on the horses. More of these wolves are coming in the distance. Where are you planning to head to?
Well, what did you guys hear when I wasn't around?
I say following the map.
Yeah, we got a map to go
the
up to
forest.
Forge Hold. To Forge Hold! Into the mountains of treachery and horribleness.
Indeed.
Where surely things will go right.
Where there are going to be terrible things waiting for us, apparently.
I
It,
don't want
it
to
looks
go
nice
there.
on the map, but it's probably quite scabby when we get there.
Okay,
Oh, which way we're going?
so you're heading east,
Northeast.
sort of northeast from the Northern Shire, which will take you through the very edge of the outskirts of the Kingswood Forest, which, as the Alderman told you, is haunted by bandits and criminals, and then into the Mountains of Mist, from which you'll proceed northeast to Forgehold. It is a long and treacherous journey. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to represent this by a series of rolls to see like how well you follow the map and how quickly you get there. So this is going to be, this can either be intelligence or wisdom. It's down to you, and you're going to have to pick one person who's going to be the sort of person who's like directing you.
I've got loads of intelligence. If you want to do map read and do the
Yeah.
this,
Smash onto it.
and
Sounds
you can
good.
and you can blame me if it goes wrong.
Okay, so
fine.
what you need to do is you need to make an intelligence roll, 12 or above, and if you succeed, you roll your basic effort, which is normally D4.
Yeah. I just got 12. I was lucky.
Okay, so roll your D4 and tell me what you get.
D4.
Yep.
D4. I rolled a 1. Boo, D4, boo.
Okay, so you head, and basically each time you make one of these rolls, I'm going to roll a D6, and if I get a 1, there's some sort of encounter. So obviously the quicker you get there, the less chance there is of some random tomfoolery happening on the road. So you head into the Kingswood Forest on the first day. However, the map isn't very exact. Like I say, it's very old and it's very generic, and you do get a bit turned around in the Kingswood Forest, which is a strange place. Sound appears to echo strangely throughout the great ancient trees that fill this forest, and occasionally you see sort of dancing lights amidst the branches in the distance, and occasionally you hear like odd whistling sounds as you move through it. However, your first day passes without incident. Obviously you have to camp at the end of the day, but the next morning you set out afresh. So Clean Breeze, make me another roll.
Oh no, I got 6 altogether on the roll.
Okay,
That's a fail.
so you
It's hard this fucking map reading.
so roll a d4.
Bean Breeze, you said you were going to know what you're doing.
I do know what I'm doing, but sometimes it doesn't do what you're meant to do.
You're supposed to be a
Just because you know what you're doing doesn't mean you always do it right. Come on now.
What
I
did you-
got a 2 on the roll on the D4.
Okay, so on the second day, you've finished camping, and as you're just about to start getting up in the morning, I presume you're setting like watches, and you're gonna have someone awake to like keep an eye out, etc.
yeah.
So let's see who's on watch. Okay, so Orchid, you're on the last watch of the evening. You're just about to sort of go, I'll start getting everyone up, maybe get a bit of breakfast on, etc. When you see 4 figures wearing sort of like green robes, sort of like travelling hoods and cloaks, step out of the trees. 2 of them point short bows in your direction, and the other 2 cover your sleeping companions. The one of them pointing the arrow at you says, "No noise or we'll drop you where you stand." All of your companions are asleep. What do you do, Orchid?
Orchid will immediately sort of drop to his belly to make himself a lesser target, and then sort of like try and kick his companions close to him to try and sort of wake them.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically say, make me a dex roll. It's 12 or more. If you succeed, you manage to like wake everyone up before they take shots at you, because obviously they said don't move and you're like,
Yeah.
Oh, no, fail. It's 11.
okay, so unfortunately you've not managed to wake your companions up.
Hi guys, it's been fun.
Okay, you take 4 hit points of damage as 2 arrows thud into your back. Now, each of you who are asleep, roll me a d6. If you get a 1, the noise of like the arrows thunking into Orchid has woken you up.
6.
5.
Okay, so you're all blissfully asleep. 2 arrows thud into you, Orchid, and the same one who spoke earlier was like popping another arrow. Said, "What did I say about moving?"
Sorry, misunderstood you. And I'll sort of shout that very loudly, so hopefully that my companions might hear that.
Okay, everyone who's asleep, roll me a d6. If you get a 1 or a 6, you've woke up.
I got a 1.
1.
I rolled a 1.
Okay.
Alex.
Okay, so Theodus,
Bread and
Clean
cheese.
Breeze, and Jay. Obviously, you don't have to like react to give yourselves away because you've succeeded. You hear Orchid go, "Oh, sorry about that. I misunderstood you." And as you like open your eyes cautiously, still sort of lying where you are, you can see like Merwig's still like
And
cuddling
I
up
got
to some
sort
like
of 2 arrows
cheese.
sticking out of me as a liner.
Yeah, there's 4 of these green-robed, obviously outlaws. 2 of them are sort of like covering all of you sleeping people with their bows, and 2 of them are stood next to Orchid, obviously having just fired arrows into his back, and one of them's like, "What did I say about don't moving?" And Orchid's like, "Oh, sorry, I misunderstood you," which is what's woke you up.
Yeah.
He's like, "If you want to pass through the Kingswood, you got to pay the toll, big man." He says to you, Orchid, he's like, "Give us all your gold and we'll let you go."
All are gold.
All of it.
What both coins?
He's like, "Don't play dumb with me, big lad." He's like, "I recognise the uniforms of people from the wall. You folk are loaded up there. Everyone knows all the magisters have got the best stuff. Fork it over and we'll let you go."
We're not the problem, mate. There's half a dozen wolves on our tails, so I wouldn't be hanging around here.
He sort of like he lowers his bow a bit, but the other one like keeps you covered, and he gets right close to you. You can smell stale booze on his breath, and he's got a few scars on his face and a bit of stubble. He leans close to you and he's like getting right up in your grill. He's like, "Listen, it's not wolves you need to be worried about at a minute. It's us you want to be fucking worried about. Now give us all your gold, or you'll be paying a much worse price." And he sort of slaps you on the forehead and he's like, "You get me?"
Look, yesterday or the day before, I was fighting bloody ogres. So, yeah, you're not intimidating me, mate.
He's like, "Do you know what them ogres sound like? Not my fucking problem. Now give me your gold."
John,
Yes.
while this is going on, obviously we're awake.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like trying to remain in a similar position, but kind of getting a hand to my bow and an arrow. And
Okay, make me a dex roll to see whether you can do it stealthily.
14.
Yeah, that's fine. So you sort of very slowly reach over, slide your bow and an arrow over, and sort of slip it into the bowstring, because you're sort of like lying back. They don't appear to have spotted you.
Okay. Can I have a look around and see if I can see if everyone else who is awake, that they are awake, rather than it just being me?
I'm gonna try and get my dagger out, which will be probably on me when I'm sleeping, kind of thing.
Okay, make a dex roll as well. You can see that Clean Breeze and Jay are awake. Merwig isn't.
17.
Okay, yeah, you sort of slide your dagger out. They don't appear to have spotted you. Jay, what are you doing?
As soon as one that's covering me is pointing at a different target, I am going to go for him.
Okay.
I'm waiting for one of these to go because I'm not a goer.
Okay.
Okay, so what's going to happen here is as Jay goes, Jay, Theodus, and Clean Breeze, you'll get to take a surprise action. Then we'll go on to normal rounds because they're not expecting you guys to move at all. So, Jay, as this guy sort of like moves his arrow away from you, make your attack roll.
20 total to hit.
Yeah, roll your damage.
6 damage.
Okay, so describe how you brutally take out this bandit.
No.
I will charge him, but I'll grab his head so it snaps as we fall down.
Okay, yeah. So as you charge him, he is like in slow motion. He's like pulling his bow round, and you literally just like smash his face onto the ground. There's a loud as his neck lands on a stone and breaks. His legs twitch for a few moments, then lie still. As Jay's bursting out and doing this, Theodus, what are you doing?
Right.
You see Jay sort of tensing, getting ready to go, and you're like, oh, I understand. It's on.
It's on. It's on.
Right. Obviously, I can see Orchid's got a couple of arrows in him.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and roll and try and put an arrow into the guy that's up in his grill.
Yeah,
But
go for it.
Is it possible to slap Merwig in the face with the arrow as I'm putting it in?
Wake her up.
Bit of a tail whip.
Do you know what? Why not? Yeah.
Wake up!
Oh, I would like another piece of
Indeed. So you are now awake, Merwig. However, you won't get to act until like the first combat round. But you sort of wake up to find this whole like melee breaking out around you, just as Theodus is like.
Right.
Oh, Jeepers Creepers!
Oh boy. That's
Someone slapped me in the face with that lovely haddock you're about to eat.
Okay, so you fire this arrow and it goes like just past, like taking a bit of the hood fabric off the leader of these outlaws, who's near Orchid. He like throws himself back, sort of flips backwards behind like a tree that's fallen basically, and then you see him sort of come up like that, so he's taking cover. However, he is away from Orchid now, but trying to hit him will be more difficult because he's behind cover.
Yep.
Okay, so Clean Breeze.
Yeah. So who's left? I know there's one hidden. But...
There's the leader crouching behind the log, and there's 2 others. There's one near Orchid, and another one who was covering all you guys.
Okay, the other one that's near Orchid, I will give him a magic missile.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, missile with my dagger.
Okay, missile.
Okay, missile. Like
See, I don't know why you bothered slapping Merwig. Like, Clean Breeze shouting "Okay, missile" would have
you know what I mean? Yeah, I was going to wake her up. Damn it.
Belt and braces, mate. Belt and braces.
Yeah.
I already got 10 on the roll, so okay, missile. No, it happens. Doesn't kick off.
Okay, so.
Damn, it's the dagger. Damn it. I need the staff. It's better.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to put a spell burn dice on Clean Breeze, which is a D4. It's set at 1 because you've now failed that spell. Each time you fail the spell, that dice will increase by 1. When it gets to 4, you will have effectively overloaded yourself with magic, and something unfortunate may occur.
Arcane.
I'm overloaded.
Okay, so you start shouting arcane missile. However, obviously being like slightly bleary and having just woken up, maybe you fumble a few of the arcane syllables that you shout between that, and the magic just crackles around the end of your staff, but doesn't seem to go anywhere.
Sifu!
Indeed.
I got it wrong. Damn it.
Okay,
Never get it wrong.
Orchid.
So Orchid now he sees his chums have joined in. Will sort of get his bow out and he'll take a pop at one of the commander.
Okay,
Although
now
it's
it's going to be a difficult roll, so it'll be 15 or more to hit him because he's behind like cover.
Yeah. Oh, no, a 5.
Okay,
So
you
straight-
fire your
straight into the
arrow.
wood.
Yeah, straight into the log. You see him sort of duck down and then come back up again. Okay, so we're going into, because Jay's already gone in the surprise round, we're going into normal rounds now. So Theodos.
Right. So with the two guys covering Orchid, wasn't there?
Yeah. Well, one of them is now here behind the log, the leader.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back to the one that's in the open, and I'll try and put a shot into him.
Okay, go for it.
20.
Was that a natural 20?
It was not. Unfortunately.
Oh. Well, you still get to roll your damage, so.
Yeah. And that is 6.
Okay, so your arrow hits one of these bandits and he's like, ugh! And staggers back a bit, but he's not down and out. Okay, clean breeze. There's the leader left who's hiding. There's two other bandits. One of them's just been hit in the shoulder by an arrow from Theodos.
I'll grab my bow and I'll try and shoot the one that's been hit with the other arrow. Try and get him in.
Okay, go for it. So it's a d20 plus your dex.
17.
Roll your damage.
Yeah. Oh, God. Where's it gone? There it is. Oh, that's 5, 6, 7.
Okay, so
7
as
damage.
this guy's sort of trying to pull the first arrow out of his shoulder, another one hits him in the neck. He lets out a gurgled scream and collapses to the floor.
Not just magical hands.
Okay, Merwig, you're now awake. One of the bandits, two of the bandits are down. There's now the leader who's hiding behind the log, and one more bandit left. What do you want to do?
What do you do?
Probably shoot the bandit with my bow and arrow, the one that's not hiding behind a log.
Okay, go for it. D20 plus your dex. 12 or more needed.
Oh no. I got a 1 on the dice. Oh no, wait. It's a 7. It's a 7.
Okay, so you
No,
fire.
it still fails.
You fire your arrow and it sails past the bandit, not hitting him. Okay, Orchid.
So just the one left now, is there?
There's one in the open left, and there's the leader who's still hid behind the log.
Oh, I'll shoot at the leader again, so he'll try and keep his head down, even if I'm missing him.
Suppressing fire.
Yeah, suppressing fire.
Go for it.
Oh, natural 20.
Oh!
That means you get to
First
roll.
one.
That means you get to roll your ultimate dice as well as your normal damage dice.
Yes. So
Ultimate suppressing fire.
the 6 plus 3 plus 1d12 plus 3 plus 2. Just hoping for a good roll here.
Yeah.
Total of 13 damage.
Okay, so as this guy pops up, planning to take a shot at you, describe how you dispatch him in a cinematic fashion.
As he pops up, straight through his aiming eye.
The arrow goes straight through his eye and comes out the back of his skull. He lets out a gurgle, not even a scream, and he drops down out of sight behind the log. There's one of them left. As we get, you can see he's basically getting ready to run because he's like, fuck this. However, before he gets a chance to run, Jay, what are you doing?
I'm going to go and power slam him repeatedly until he dies.
Okay, go for it. D20 plus strength.
I mean, we don't know Orchid's what suppressing fire is.
12 on a
Yeah, so roll your damage.
another 6.
Okay, so you grab this guy and you sort of you basically start smashing his head into the log that the other guy was hiding behind him. Now you can see over the top of the log he's blatantly dead. He's got an arrow through his skull. This guy's not dead yet, but you're just like... Okay, so I'm not going to say you have to... We're effectively out of combat rounds. If you want to finish this guy off, you can do. You just keep smashing his head into the log. He can't really resist at the minute.
Yeah, I'll just finish him off.
I've got to start searching them all.
Oh, are you?
I'm going to start packing up the camp. We're getting the fuck out of here.
I want loot.
Oh, well, yeah, you get the loot.
Maybe
I'll-
robbing people in the woods, they might have loot on them.
Oh, no.
Okay, so you get... So How many people is Merwig searching, and how many people are Theodos searching?
Well, I'll just do the two closest to me, and you can do the two closest to him if you want.
Okay, so for the ones that Theodos is searching. Okay, you find that one of them has a pouch of metal ball bearings on him.
Nice.
Ball bearings, nice.
And the second one sort of has sort of strapped to his back an old rusty shield that will give you +2 armour. However, the third time it's hit, it will break.
Well, 2 hits its own.
Okay, so the two that Merwig is searching, and obviously you get 2 for each of them. So, the first one you search has a coin pouch with 10 coins in it. And also has a sketchy sort of like charcoal on paper map of the Kingswood Forest, and it shows the locations of like various bandit hideouts.
Oh, that's what I needed.
It seems like this is an organisation of like bandit groups and criminals that lurk in the Kingswood Forest, but you've now got a map with like the location of all the main bases on it.
Awesome.
Okay, the second one has what appears to be, it's like a small round pebble, and it has some sort of weird rune sort of inscribed on it. You don't really recognise, but when you show it to Theodos, he tells you that it's the Elven rune for life. And I will tell you out of character, this is a rune stone. It's an item. If you are killed in battle, it will restore you to life, but then it is used.
So I've got an extra life.
Basically,
One
yeah.
life. Yes, I need that because I'm pathetic.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, he also has, this is the leader by the way,
Yeah.
he also has what appears to be a very heavy sort of iron cube with like a little metal loop set into it that was on his belt. And that's what they have.
No idea what that is. Is that like a weapon or?
No, it's just like a little cube with a loop in it. But it feels very heavy.
Weird. Right then.
Okay,
We'll
so
write all my swag in my little.
okay, so what I'm going to say is, because you've now got this map, Merwig, can you please roll me 2d4s and tell me what you get? Because you'll be able to avoid a lot of the bandits and find your way easily through the forest. So I'm going to add this onto your journey total.
2d4s.
Yep.
Okay, a 2 and a 4.
Okay.
6. Nice.
Okay, so with the aid of Merwig's purloined map, you're able to pass through the Kingswood Forest over the course of the next day without incident. You reach the foothills of the Misty Mountains. The ground starts sloping upwards and becoming a bit more difficult to travel. You start feeling more at home, Orchid, as your people were sort of bred in these conditions, and you're used to like the sort of thinner air up on the top of mountains, not this soupy bullshit that the rest of the races breathe down here. So you're actually feeling like better the more you go on, whereas the rest of you are struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, Clean Breeze, can you make me another intelligence roll? Difficulty 12.
Got 16 on that, so it's 19 altogether.
Okay, roll your basic effort, so it's D4 plus whatever your effort is.
I've got this at 1. So that's 4. That's not bad. That's a good. See, I'm getting better. Now we're at the fucking forest.
Okay, so
That bloody forest.
so you travel on for another couple of days through
Just up
the
this hill.
mountains. You hear the howl of wolves and various other animals of the mountains in the distance, but nothing bothers you for the first couple of days. Make another roll, Clean Breeze.
Okay. That's a bit worse. That was a 4, so
Okay,
that's a 7 altogether.
so as you're travelling through the mountains on the 4th day, you're just about to make camp for the night when Clean Breeze, as you're sort of like leading them, looking at this map given to you by the halflings, you see in the distance, covered by the snow, there is something underneath. You can see like a hump in the snow.
Okay.
What do you do? What do you do?
I can't tell those guys. There's something in the snow over there.
He gestures, and you can see like just this like lump as though like something's buried under the snow.
Careful. You don't know what the snow can bury in these plants.
Go and have a look.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll kind of begrudgingly look round at everyone and be like, I'll go and have a look.
Cool. I'll step back whilst they step forward.
Good man, Theodos. Good man.
Okay, so you head over Theodos, and now you're closer. As you look at the snow, you can see what looks to be a shard of bone sticking up out of the snow.
No, nothing.
I'll just kind of get my dagger out and just kind of like flick some of the snow off the top of it.
Okay, you flick the snow off it, and you can see the body of what looks like a human lying there. It's wearing the remnants of armour, but it must have been here for quite some time, because the armour's rusted away almost to nothing. And it has like the pitiful remnants of a sword hanging at its belt, but again that's rusted away to almost nothing. However, you can make a loot roll to see if there's anything there. So would you like to roll me a D100? Obviously you can roll 2D10s for that.
I got 2.
Okay. So as you rifle through it, you find you're quite surprised. You find what appears to be a parchment scroll on the sort of like tucked behind one of the rusted armor plates. But oddly enough, the scroll itself doesn't appear to have been affected by the elements, even though the body's obviously been here for like years and years and years. As you unfurl it, written in flowing elven script across the scroll,
Text of my people.
It is an ancient elven incantation, a magical incantation which you can now have, which allows you to levitate.
Wow.
You can, to use this, you make an intelligence roll, and the target can float up to 6 feet in the air for 1d4 rounds.
Nice. You could be a floating elf.
You can't fly. You can literally just like hover up.
I mean, I feel you should still kick your legs out, so it looks like you're just going up the air.
So, John, I take it this doesn't get used. I have to have this in my possession to use the spell, or do I use it up when I use the spell?
Effectively, as you're reading the spell, the writing and the scroll crumbles to pieces. You've like absorbed the magic from it.
You have the power to float.
Indeed.
Float, you fools.
And as you read this scroll, and the writing blows away like dust in the wind, and it crumbles in your hands, you look down and you can see at the bottom of the page, just before it disappears, someone has written in scrawled handwriting in common, "I don't know if anyone will read this, but the great beast has taken the crown." And then before you have time to wonder what that means, the scroll blows away on the wind.
Great beast has taken the crown.
I'll
And it-
return to everyone then.
Indeed, and as you sort of start to go, you look down at this one last time at this pitiful skeleton, and you can see that basically there's large gouge marks on like the bones, as though some like great huge claw had just like raped this person, and probably sort of like it must have happened while the person was alive, but it's like literally gone through to like the bones.
Oh,
It's
torn
practically
asunder.
it's practically a miracle, this person, and it explains the shaky handwriting of the scroll. This person must have been dying as they were writing it.
I was impressed they could write.
Yeah, good effort.
The old
Good
heroes
shit
were made of
considering.
stern stuff.
Obviously.
Indeed. Stern stuff from North and shit.
But, guys, I don't want to mention it, but whatever killed him is probably still lurking around here somewhere.
Nah, definitely not. I mean,
Yes.
look how rusty he is.
No, the scroll said the great beast took the crown. So whatever did this probably took what we're looking for.
We need to find this great beast then. I
I
don't
mean,
enjoy the idea
At
of
this
this
point, Clean Breeze, can you please make me a wisdom roll? Also, Orchid, you can make a wisdom roll as well.
Yeah. Just while they're saying that as well, I'm like, Clean Breeze, by the way. There was an elven spell in that scroll.
7 of my wisdom.
Oh yeah, I'm not really dabbled in them. I got 11 on my roll.
Okay. So, as far as you're concerned, Orchid, like great beast could refer to like loads of different things in these mountains because animals get big up here. Your people are like normal-sized humans compared to some of the animals in this area. However, Clean Breeze, you vaguely remembered it in one of the old tomes that you were sort of perusing when you were trying to improve yourself back at the wall. You remember seeing a reference to great beasts, and it referred to a giant winged serpents that once used to roam the landscape. But you remember reading something that they've now fled the world. There's some sort of like migration towards the southwest, and you remember the name Dragontail Islands.
Dragontail Islands. Oh. So yeah, I mean, these beasts are not around here anymore, so I might have to go to... I mean, if this beast is so great and it's got the crown, that's quite good protection? Question mark?
Yeah, but were these beasts once in allegiance with the Dark Lord?
I'm just thinking, if we can't take great beasts on, then the Dark Lord and his minions might not, and then it's sorted, isn't it? It's fine. It's protected.
I'll just continue to stay silent, but just look at him with a kind of like a...
Okay. So what's the plan, guys?
Are we going to the Dragontail Islands?
Yes.
I guess we've begrudgingly been heroes. Somehow.
Okay. So you turn, obviously because time's getting on, we'll sort of speed through a bit of this. You turn southwest, and using Clean Breeze's map, obviously if you come back here and you try and go back to Forgehold, we'll pick up where you left off. You won't have to start from scratch, you'll follow the same path. You make your way through the Kingwood Forest following the map that Merwig still has in her possession, and you head across the southern borders of Northern Shire. You spot in the distance several times like ogre and orc and wolf rider raiding parties amidst the burning of several Shire villages, but you manage to pass undetected. You reach the coast, and just across the sea, many miles distance, you can spy the smoking mountains of the Dragontail Islands.
Getting about a bit, guys.
It's a journey of many leagues across the sea. You have no boat.
Is there a harbour or harbour town or anything around here?
Civilization around here.
Can we hire a boat?
Okay, as you look around, you can see, although there's no sort of harbour as such, there are a number of like fishing villages along the shores. Obviously, they've not really got sort of massive sailing boats, but they've got sort of like rowboats. And you can see a mix of like halfling and like human sort of fishermen, pulling their nets in and stuff like that. They sort of like nod at you and give you sort of like greetings as you head past, as they're going about their business. This is like further to the south, so the orcs and etc. haven't reached here yet.
Has anybody got any coin that maybe we can hire one of these fishermen to take us across to the Dragontail Islands?
It depends what their price is, but I've got a bit.
Yeah, again with the begrudge look, I'm like, yeah.
I bet Sticky Fingers Boffin has.
I don't fancy rowing.
I prefer to acquire items, but if we do need a coin for our magnanimous
I bet
quest,
that chest that I took off that ogre.
Here, you do still have that chest. Obviously, you would have to either pick the lock or break it open.
I see. Can anyone pick locks? No.
Well, Merwig can, but she's busy like rooting through a pack and like eating cheese and bread.
It was like, can you just smash that?
Okay, yeah, go and just smash it.
If only you had some sort of like giant strongman on your team who could. Like,
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, should smash this open. Let's have a look in this.
Okay.
We might have enough to get a boat.
Okay, make a strength roll, Orchid.
Come on, Orchid. Show us what you got.
19.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're like, Orchid, can you smash this open? He's like,
okay. It just flips open.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so Orchid, can you please roll me a D100?
52.
52. Okay. So, as you look inside this statue, you see this chest. You see a small stone statue in it. It depicts like a many-armed ogre, perhaps some sort of ogre deity. And Clean Breeze, you can feel like an aura of some good fortune, albeit tainted by the crude shamanic daubings of the ogres, emanating from this statue.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't think anyone wants that for a boat, but I can give him my coins and I'll keep hold of that statue.
Okay, you have an ogre look statue. While you have this statue, a roll of a 19 or a 20 is treated as a critical.
Oh. Might be able to kick off a mega spell.
Okay, so you're still on the coast. There's all these fishermen, women knocking about.
So yeah, we'll go up to one of them and... well, actually, no, go on, Pimp Daddy. You need to go up to one of them and go, hey.
Okay, I will approach one with a boat that I would be happy going in. I'll probably will be fairly picky. I wish, be like, that's
You
a
look
squid
around.
ship. That looks disgusting. I'm not going in there.
Indeed, you look around and like most of them are a bit shabby. However, eventually you come across a young woman who's like gathering her nets and her ropes in, and she has a small. It's a small boat, but it's got like two small triangular sails on it, and it looks to have been extremely well maintained.
As for, I'll just kind of like take off, like dust my pimp jacket off, kind of tidy my hair up a little bit, that's a bit, and kind of make sure I look acceptable. And I'll approach and be like,
she's like, "Oh, hello."
Hello. Good to see you. We are on a mighty quest, and we were wondering if you would take us where we need to go.
She's like, "Oh well, I'm sorry. I've got family to care for. I can't be sorry, but I can't be gallivanting off on a quest. I've got to make sure my kids are fed."
Well, I'm sure gold could feed your family.
Oh wow. She looks a bit interested. She's like, "Go on."
Yeah. Me and my company need taking to Dragontail Island.
She's like, oh, you don't want to go there. They say the last of the great serpents lives there. Squats on a mighty pile of gold and destroys anyone who gets near. Even the mountains bleed fire in the Dragon's Isles.
As she's explaining all this, like, it's the first time I've had it described to me. I imagine there's just kind of like a...
Oh shit! I mean, wow, that's rumours.
I'm like, yes, that's where we need to go.
Yeah, that's it. That's the place.
She's like, well, I can't take you there myself, but I mean, you can see it there. I mean, but I suppose if there was enough gold in the offering, I could perhaps loan you my sailing vessel.
How much is enough?
Make me a charisma roll.
I'm not commanding or intimidating. Bye, handy thing.
You can't intimidate the poor housewife.
I got 11.
Okay,
I could intimidate.
She's like, oh well, I'd have to ask at least 50 coins for it, and then she sort of like sighs a bit. She says, "Oh, I need the money," and then she sort of like gives you a bit of a lingering glance, and she says, It does get very lonely out on the shores."
We're like, it does indeed. Is there nothing I could do to make this lessen?
She says, well, if your companions and she looks up and down appraisingly, and yourself were to stay the night before you set out, I'm sure we could reach some arrangement.
Sure.
Obviously, you're an exotic elf.
Take one for the team. Come on.
I am ready to take on the thing. I will go back and fix it home.
We'll draw a veil over the exact proceedings.
Oh,
Try outside having a pie.
Make me another charisma roll, Theodos.
It's hero life's hard, isn't it, Orchard?
It's terrible. 14, John.
Okay, so you spend the night with this young woman. The rest of you all know what Theodos is up to with this young woman, because like you're literally like sort of sleeping outside in the open, whereas he's in the hut with a woman, and you can pretty much hear what's going on.
It's the one moment where I've left my pimp jacket outside.
Indeed, just like your hat hanging, like your fur hat hanging up. Suffice to say, come the morning, she agrees to lower her price to 25 coins.
That's the best you could do.
The best you can put into it.
How many,
It could have
how
been
many
worse.
days do
It
you
could have
want
gone
to
up.
stay?
You notice what Theodos relates this to you when he comes like staggering out of the hut in the morning.
Oh, I've got 50, so I'll give 25.
Yeah, so Clean Breeze like hands her 25 coins.
Oh, yeah, literally, I'll be getting like my pouch out, and you'll be like, "Oh, I've got 50. I'll give you 25."
I could have paid it.
Okay, she
I was looking and go, what?
she takes you over to the boat, and she shows you sort of like, again, I'm having a bit of a lingering glance at Theodos, and she shows you like how it all works, the rigging, etc. on the boat, and you can see on the side of it is written the Mithril Maiden on the side of the boat.
Yeah, again, Theodore's getting shown what to do.
And she wishes you well on your quest, and asks that if you should return, and I hope you do, she says, looking at Theodos, please return the boat to me. It's my livelihood.
We'll do everything we can.
Are we going to warn her about the impending orc invasion?
No.
I think she's got enough on a plate.
Indeed.
Nah,
Okay, so
you'll
you
get the message.
So you guys are setting out for the Dragon Tail Islands. Which of you is going to be doing the majority of the sailing? So who's the sort of, as Clean Breeze was reading the map, who's going to be doing the captaining of the ship? This will be a wisdom-based role rather than an intelligence-based one.
That's me out.
Oh, I'm quite wise.
Oh, there we go. We've got a wise hobbit. There we go.
God.
Wise hobbit.
Okay, so Merwig, make me a wisdom roll. You need 12 or more.
Shortly on that wheel.
I got 12 plus.
If you got 12 on the roll, it's fine. You've succeeded.
Oh, yes.
So roll me a d4.
D4. 5.
Okay. Okay, so your first day's travel across the sea towards the Dragon Islands passes uneventfully. Make me another roll, Merwig, same as before. If you get 12 or more, roll a d4, tell me what you get.
Oh my god, I got 12 again.
Sweet. You're obviously a born sailor.
3. Got 3.
Okay. And again?
If I get 12 again, that'll be ridiculous. Two.
So what did you get? 2.
2.
Okay. Was that for your roll or for the d4 roll?
That was for my roll, my D20 roll.
Okay.
I got the 2.
So, on the second day of sailing, you sight what appears to be a much larger vessel with black sails sailing from the west. It appears to be heading directly towards you.
That doesn't look good.
What do
Can
you
we make
do?
this thing go any faster?
If you wish, you can try and lose them. You know, sort of like sail behind some of the smaller islands and sort of cliffs.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea.
Okay, so it's going to be another wisdom roll from you, Merwig.
Wizzy, come on.
Come on, Wiz.
Come on, guys.
Come on, Wizzy.
Come on.
Do this.
I got a 16.
Okay, roll a d4, tell me what you get.
4.
Okay, so you managed to lose this pirate ship by sailing behind a small island into a fog bank. and you sort of watch as their sails pass by. As they do, you can hear like jeering, and you can see cowled corsairs with curved blades stood on the deck, scanning the waters for you, who they're planning to make their next victims. But because your ship's much smaller and hidden in the fog bank, they sail past. Another wisdom roll, please, Merwig.
This is pressure. 20.
Is that a natural 20?
It is a natural 20.
In which case you get to roll a d4 and you get to roll a d12 and add them together.
Here's a d4. Which one's the d12? That one. Right. Yeah. An 8 and a 6. 14.
Okay, so you sail through the fog bank using it as cover. And as the fog clears, your small sailing vessel, the Mithril Maiden, emerging from the thick grey fog, you see Dragon Island ahead of you.
Dun,
A
dun.
large volcanic mountain at its centre, belching thick black smoke into the air. You can see high up near the top of this volcano what appears to be the large, dark mouth of a cave. And your boat slides onto the rocky, pebbly beach. Even the beach seems hard and desolate on this island.
Theodis, do you reckon you could bang this dragon and all? Get what we want.
I mean, I think that's probably going to be a more attractive option right now.
Well, you know, that'd be a story to tell, wouldn't it?
Okay, so you've
Tell you what, if it gives me the option, I'll go for it.
Okay, so you've made a landfall. You can see this yawning cavern mouth some distance up the top of this volcanic precipice. What do you do?
Well, we'd have to go toward that, aren't we?
Drop the anchor.
Yeah, we have to sneak up. Yeah.
Yeah, let's short the boat.
Over.
Let's
Jay,
try and
you
hide
drop
the
the anchor.
boat. Let's just try and, if we can hide the boat or a bit, put it out of the way. So hopefully it's still there when we get back. Hopefully.
Okay. Yeah, not a problem.
Because we will get back.
Okay.
Hopefully.
So you conceal the boat as best you can, sort of in an inlet, and you start making your way up the mountain. It takes you a number of hours, and it's just getting dark as you start reaching the mouth of the cave. From inside, you can hear
I'll just be like,
occasionally the entrance lights up as though someone has lit a bright fire deep inside, then it darkens again.
Merwig,
Yeah.
do you think you could just sneak in there and take the crown? You don't have to go in.
I don't even know what it looks like.
I mean, guys, the first hero was a hobbit. If you just go in there and just stab it up, you might kill
Don't try
him.
it. Don't try it. Fly that one.
Statistically speaking, you're probably
Jeez,
the
well.
hero.
I know, exactly. That's the statistics.
Fine.
You've got this, Merwig. You've got it.
Right then.
I sense a great aura around you of magic.
Just shut up. I'm sneaking in. Alright.
God, you look so heroic today.
Okay, the difficulty of this scene is 18.
Fucking hell.
You got
You are attempting to sneak into a dragon's cave.
You got this, Merwig. You're on this.
Just a puff of flame. Oh no.
You go in there, Merwig, Boffin. You'll come out, Sir Boffin.
Right, so I'm rolling a d20.
So you roll a d20, add your dex plus whatever bonus you've got.
Oh, well, I'm
any
going to
other
put my
bonus?
thieves' hood on.
I would, yeah.
Absolutely grand.
I'd put everything on that you got.
Come on, come on, come on. I got a 14
Oof.
plus 2 plus 3.
19. Boom.
Yes!
Oh, smashed it.
Okay. So what happens, Merwig, is you've made it into the cave without waking the dragon up. So as you sneak into this cave, you see this monumental pile of gold and riches, and lying on top of it, curled up asleep, is this huge crimson scaled dragon. Its eyelids are closed, and it snores, rumbling deeply in its sleep, and every now and again a gout of flame emerges from its nostrils as it's like...
I'll have a look about, see if I can see the crown, obviously, from sort of where I am.
Okay, you look around and you can see numerous riches, and then eventually your eye falls on this dark, wrought iron crown. The dragon's tail curled around it.
Oh, freaking great.
Your eyes are full of the sight of this golden pile. It's like more wealth than you've ever seen in your life. This is probably like your idea of like heaven if it wasn't for the dragon.
Dragon. Yeah, but I like me. What am I gonna do? What I might do is sneak back out again and tell the others that I've seen the crown.
That's
know
fine.
where it is.
I'm not going to make another roll. So
Yeah.
So Merwig comes like sneaking back out again. Tell him what you want.
Right. So the crown.
Did he get it? Did he
No,
get it?
did I just get it? Shut up! There's a huge dragon in there. Be quiet! Shut the fuck up. Anyway, there's a huge dragon.
Let me just roll a d6. You're fine. Come on.
Yeah, we didn't need a scout.
There's a huge
Yeah, I was
dragon
like,
in there.
shh.
But the thing, I've seen the crown, and its tail is curled around it. I am not willing to try and sneak past that. It's not happening. What we need to do is lure the dragon out of the cave, and then I'll go and get it.
Okay. That's like a crazy
So-
idea.
So
need
you
to
want
create
us to be bait so that you can sneak in the
Yes.
cave?
No, I want you to create something to get the dragon out of the cage and then maybe hide or something. I'm not expecting you to fight this thing. It's a massive dragon.
I mean, we can all agree on that.
Unless Clean Breeze can one-shot it with his magic missile that he keeps shouting about.
Let me just roll a d6. No, you're fine.
Yeah. I was about, Orchid.
1 out of 100.
Can we just
may
whisper?
kill a dragon. I don't like the other ones.
Keep it quiet, guys.
I love the fact you guys are like, keep it quiet, and Orchid's like, you could go in there, and Cleaver's like, I don't like them odds.
Helpful. Sounds whispering.
Yeah, the hill folk don't really do whispering. They used to like sort of yodeling and like shouting across mountains.
Yeah. What? Oh.
So we all agreed. We put Orchard in the middle of the entrance and get to Yordle.
So
I mean, are you sure you can't sneak in the middle of it? You'll be alright.
I'm gonna be incinerated.
You've got those sticky fingers.
What about if I gave you like a hook and some rope and you just like
Well,
pursue it?
I wonder if there's another entrance to the cave somewhere.
A thought does
And then
occur to you, Clean Breeze.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, you've got that Ogre Luck statue. All of you have got various bits of kit that potentially you could like give to Merwig to like help her like get the crown.
Yeah. So yeah. I gift you this.
And my bunny bracelet.
Okay, so
you roll a 19. It's
About levitation.
I can't get. Can I levitate Merwig?
Oh my god.
yeah, you can levitate another
You're
target.
gonna get me
you
killed.
can. You can. No.
But obviously, she'd just float up in the air. She'd have to like grab onto something to like move herself along.
Yeah, it might not be the best. Might be on the way out. On the way out, might be.
Should we have a look around this mountain to see if there's another entrance? And then maybe I could sort of Mission Impossible using the grappling
hang on a
hook
minute.
down.
If he gets it out of the dragon's grasp, you might be able to levitate the thing over to us. Can you do it to items, or is it just people?
Yeah, you can do it to any target.
Yeah. So she could like Mission Impossible in, pull it out, and then you could levitate it over, and she's out, and then down. We're at the tavern having a pint.
Down to the Winchester, have a pint.
That's it. Where it's all brought over, you know. Outlaw dies. You know, so it's all done. Sorry.
I think Merwig's right. We don't need to rush into this. Maybe let's see if there's another entrance.
See if there's let's go for a little wander around and see what we can see if there's another entrance.
Okay, so the person who's doing like leading the charge, looking for another entrance, make me a wisdom roll.
Oh, well, that's going then. So go in. Find us an entrance. That's...
What, me?
Yeah.
Alright,
Unless anyone else has got good wisdom, but you're seem to the one with the wisdom.
I've got 12 and 2, so it's 14.
you are on the only other exit you're able to find is sort of like if you went down through the top of the mountain where there's like a hole in the top of the mountain. It looks like it's an extinct volcano. Obviously the smoke that's been seen coming from it is a result of the dragon rather than like the volcano. So you potentially like lower yourself in via the hole in the top of the mountain, but it's like quite a ways down.
Yeah, so it's one way down.
I've got plenty of rope.
I've got some rope.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
just that-
2 bits of rope.
Yeah.
I'll lower you down, and you sort of dangle by it from your feet, and just grab it. Be easy.
Yeah.
Now, John, I take it this is probably more than 2 bits of rope scenario.
Yeah, I think between you all, you've probably got enough rope.
Okay.
You'd have to like tie them all together, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Plus, there's extra rope on the boat that you could go and grab if you need it.
Cool. Right. So mission in boffin.
Okay, so if I'm correct, we cut to probably about half an hour later. The dragon's still asleep.
Yeah.
You guys have got like the world's longest length of rope, all tied together. It's tied around Merwig's waist.
Yeah.
You guys are all like holding it. You've maybe got it looped around like a scorched
Oh, no,
tree or
it'd
something.
be looped around her like that, so she can go.
Yeah, and you're about to lower her down into this extinct volcano towards this sleeping dragon. And it's
What could go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? And she's got a luck totem in her possession.
I'm going to get eaten.
Okay, so what I'm going to ask is, as you're lowering down, I want one of you who's like holding the rope to make a strength roll. It's up to you guys which one of you makes it.
That'll be Orchid then.
Okay, go for it. Tell me what you get.
And can we make sure the end of the rope is tied off? To
And
the one
I'm going to
that's
say
not
I'm going to lower the difficulty to 15 of this scene now because you've done all the prep.
That's 14 plus 3. That's 17.
Okay, so Mervix, at Mission Impossible style, you are lowered down towards this sleeping crimson drake. You've managed, because you knew the layout, you're lowered so you're like directly above the crown. You can still hear the dragon like snoring away, and you're literally like maybe a few feet above the crown that's got its tail wrapped around it.
Right.
You could almost just reach out and
I'm going to reach towards it. Obviously,
but
I'm gonna try
as you're reaching towards the crown, again your eyes are filled with all the other riches that are lying around it. Are you only going to take the crown?
Well, what's the biggest, most expensive thing near the crown?
Oh no!
Okay. Since it is you get to locate 2 things on the loot chart. So just give me a second.
Why is this so heavy? Why did she decide to take?
Okay, so
A piano.
lying next to it, you can see like an armoured breastplate that's gleaming and covered in some ancient writings.
Yeah.
You can also see what appears to be a golden statue of one of the human gods with its hand held like that. It's only a little statue.
Is it not like a big ruby or a big emerald or something, like a pocket?
There are several gems, but they're not sort of like within arm's reach.
Oh, right. Well, I'm gonna probably cry the whole way home, but I'll just take the crown.
Okay. So you reach down for the crown.
Yeah, the other stuff's too big.
Maybe a dex roll.
You are the hero.
Oh my god!
Don't forget, if you get a natural 19 or 20, it's a critical because you've got the lucky ogre statue.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh my god! Come on!
Oh, not
I got 19. I got
Okay.
19.
yeah!
In which case, you have succeeded brilliantly. So thanks to the lucky ogre statue, you reach down, you slide the crown out from the tail coils of this crimson drake, and for a few moments it's like, and you're like, and you hold your breath, and then boom, the crown slides free of its coils. You've got it. It's in your hands. You're hanging there. The dragon's still asleep. What do you do? How do you signal to the others to pull you back
I'm
up?
gonna give the others a signal. So
What's the signal?
I'm just gonna tug on the rope a little bit.
Okay, you guys feel a little tug on the rope.
Start hauling back in.
Okay.
Gently,
So,
gently.
Merwig, roll me a d6.
A D6. Meow. I got 3.
Okay, that's fine. You're slowly winched back up, holding this wrought iron dark crown.
I hope this is it now.
And you're pulled out of the top of the dormant volcano, and the dragon remains slumbering.
Can we go home now?
Just then.
We've
We've done it.
I'll just put my hand on his shoulder. You've done really well, Merwick.
Can we go home now? Shh.
Right, everybody back to the boat.
So now we've got it. What do we do with it?
We'll go back to the boat and discuss it.
Okay, so as Orchid goes, no, we've got it. What do we do with it? I'll roll a d6. You're fine. The dragon remains asleep.
I'm so glad that this dragon took a couple of sleeping tablets before he went for a nap.
No, it's
Popped a couple of Vicodin before he lay.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Orchid, please don't say anything until we get back to the boat. Please.
Okay.
And the orchid puts his hand over his mouth to stop himself saying it.
There we go.
I was waiting for you to be like, okay. Okay, so you guys all make your way back to the Mithril Maiden in the sheltered inlet where you'd hidden it. You have the crown of the Dark Lord in your possession. It feels heavy, and you can feel the dark energies inside it.
This thing is creepy.
Okay, what do you do?
See,
No.
should
I am the dark.
why don't
Oh,
you
are you putting on the crown quickly, Grace?
why don't you get the crown and sort of put it near my wound to see if it will take the blackness
Gem
out of my wound?
Can we put some distance between us and the dragon before we dick about with the evil crown?
That's fine.
Okay,
Let's
you
get to
you
side
put
of
the
wall.
you put the crown near the black mark on Orchid, and the black mark seems to fade into the crown. You lose the bonus that it gave you, Orchid, and however, as it's removed from you, you appear to hear a triumphant scream in your mind, Orchid, of something ancient, dark, stirring and awakening. You are the only one that hears this, but you are now free of the dark mark.
Oh, I tell you what, I feel quite a bit better now.
Ah.
Alright. Hang on a minute, is that powering up the crown though? Because I don't think we should just start giving it all back.
Does the crown appear different all because of it?
Nope.
No.
No, it's not giving off more wiggy evilness.
No.
It said there was like things taken out of the crown, wasn't there, before it was trying to be destroyed? Is that right?
No, there was nothing taken out of the crown, no.
No, it's meant to be taken to the dwarves to be destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah, those gem part of the crown. I'm a bit weirded out about reuniting them.
That's why I don't think we should need to just reunite everything like where we are and stuff. I think we should get to the dwarves before we start doing stuff like that.
Yeah, let's go to Forge Hold.
Yeah.
To Forge Hold!
Who wants to look after the crown?
Well, hobbits are remarkably resilient
No.
to evil.
Yeah, I was just kind of like nod with Jay, like yeah. I mean, you've done a good job,
Okay,
but
so as you're sailing across the seas back towards the fishing village to deliver the Mithril Maiden,
oh no!
on
we're never
one
gonna get
on one of the evenings when you are the only person awake, Merwig, you find your gaze drawn
Oh.
to the dark crown.
Ooh.
Make me a charisma roll.
A dark
great.
queen Buffett.
Yeah, man.
I will be your thief, dark and
I
powerful.
got 10 altogether.
Okay, so you guys have all been like kipping and like Merwig's like, oh, I'll look after the boat, it's fine. You are all awoke by the sound of Merwig screaming loudly.
What the hell?
You wake up, you can see her like with the crown on top of her head and what appears to be almost like black ink in her eyes, like her eyes slowly turning black, and you all hear this screech of triumph in your so that seems to echo in your minds. She's like fallen to the ground in pain, obviously like trying to pull this thing off her head, but it's like not budging.
Does Orchid still hear the screech?
You all hear it, yep.
Okay.
Get off her head!
Yeah, I'll kind of like grab hold of the crown and assume that someone else is grabbing it.
I'll grab on the bottom. and start-
As you hear that, Jay, you happen to glance back across the ocean 'cause you've just like landed on shore. You see in the distance towards the mountain a gout of flame emerges from the mountain, and a large black shape, winged and reptilian, starts to rise out of the mountain.
Oh.
Let's bounce.
Bollocks.
Merwig tries to speak, but she's too busy like screaming in pain. She eventually, her screaming stops, and she sort of stands up, and she seems to be like growing taller and thinner as she stands there. Her eyes now completely black.
Breeze, look at that.
I am the Dark Lord Merwig Boffin.
I'm going to continue.
I will cover the
cry off
land
her head.
in a sickening darkness.
Okay, so as she rises up, like I say, sort of growing like tall and thin, her eyes now entirely black. She opens her mouth, and a deep rumbling voice that seems to echo from the bowels of the earth emerges from her mouth, and she says, "You would try to defeat me, fools." At which point, Theodis, you said you were trying to like wrench the.
Yeah, I'll just be like, continue trying to register the crown back, going like, "You fucking right, we will."
Okay, it's a strength roll, DC 15.
Not my,
Please don't pull my head off.
not my waifly elfic.
Oh.
Oh.
I can't.
10.
You alright?
I can't.
Okay, you try and pull this off her, and it's not happening. At which point she turns around and she just literally like slaps you, but it's like a freight train has hit you.
Oh.
It like it throws you about 10 foot, and you land.
Slap the pimp.
You land on the ground, having taken 6 hit points of damage.
Oh.
And guess who's got the medicine?
Yeah.
Okay, what are the rest of you guys doing? Is like Merwig seems possessed by this spirit.
I'm like,
Holding my poor pimp face.
yeah. I'm like, get out of mine!
He's just like, I'm normally the slapper, not the slappy.
Rob, do that
The moneymaker.
thing.
I'm going to try and hit the crown
I
with
will.
my arcane missile.
Okay, make an intelligence check, 15 or more.
Better than my plan.
I can guess what your plan's going to be.
Oh no.
No!
Just like wrench your head off. Done.
No.
That's it, mate.
Oh, I got a 19. I didn't take the fucking.
Okay, yeah, you haven't got the ogre statue. The Dark Lord has it.
Got to say, give me back. Give me back my fucking.
Okay,
I've got all the swag.
roll your damage, Clean Breeze, because you hit.
You bam. Oh.
58.
If you can't get the crown off, we can get the head off.
That's the plan.
Oh, got an 8 on the D8.
So roll it again and add it on.
Oh, yeah, explodes. Yeah, I got that thing. Yeah. And a 4.
As you sort of hold your fire
12.
crystal forward, it glowing as you fire this magic missile.
Okay, missile. So that's 12 altogether.
Okay, your blast hits the crown, and the energies seem to crackle around the crown, disrupting the ancient evil incantations wrought into it. Merwig, for a few moments, you are yourself again, and you're in control. You feel like the weight of the crown has been like lessened slightly. What do you do?
I'm going to try and pull it off.
Okay, you wrench the crown off your head. It lands on the ground. It doesn't roll. It just sort of goes dung and stops like it's a massively heavy weight. As the crown comes off your head, your eyes resume their normal colour and you shrink back down to your normal size. You feel as though you're not taking damage, but you feel like exhausted,
Tired.
as though something had like almost started to draw the life force out of you. But for now, you are
Probably
yourself
feels the
again.
sword whizzing across top of her head as well.
The crown lies on its side.
I'll do a Gandalf and chuck a cloth over it.
Yeah, not a problem. You're like,
That thing is evil.
Yeah, so we need to keep that away from us.
okay.
do you-
As you're throwing a cloth over it, make me a charisma roll, Theodos.
Oh, I'll just pop it on my bonds. Oh.
I am the Dark Lord.
I got 9. Unless I'm trying to intimidate it.
No.
Oh shit.
Okay, so you guys see Theodos like he sort of like wraps it up, starts to like throw this cover over it, and then almost as though like it's captured his attention, he like picks up this crown and he's like,
I'm going to recognise what's going on and
Spear
dive
for
at
spear.
him.
Take him out.
Yeah.
okay, I'm not. Sorry,
Orc is
okay.
going to try and punch it out of his hands.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to make a roll for that because you guys know what's going on now and you've got time to prepare. So yeah, you quickly like Orchid, you slap it out of his hand, it falls to the ground again, like dung, as soon as it leaves your hand, Theodus, you're like in control of yourself again. But for a few moments, it was almost like it was like whispering in your mind, and it was reminding you that, well, elves are the eldest race, the wisest race. Surely it wouldn't overpower you like it did a weak halfling. And you find yourself sort of like, yeah, it won't control me. I'm fine. And then Orchid's like, less of that shit, and like knocks it out of your hand.
So we need a way of carrying this thing.
I went full Boromir. Shit. In my hands, I can control it. Think of the power.
You went full Boromir.
Yeah,
Never go full Boromir.
Never go
Exactly.
full
I can't wait
Boromir.
to get hit by 6 arrows.
If you're going to get arrows in your chest, what's going to happen?
we need to figure out a way of transporting that without it. Like,
Well, we just
John,
need
can
some...
I also do the Healy thing? Where I get my con plus.
Yeah, you get your con +1 back
Oh, yeah.
if you bind your wounds. That's fine.
Cool.
Okay, so what's the plan, guys?
So have we still got that chest that we got off
Yeah,
the
still
ogre?
got the chest.
Yeah, unfortunately, you
Oh, really?
smashed it when you opened it. 'cause you went,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, smash it.
yeah.
Yeah,
We'll have a. We're in the fishing village thing again.
Oh.
Can we not look for some sort of receptacle?
John, was it when I physically
like a lobster
touched it, or was
Yeah,
it just
it was sort of like as you got close to it, it exerted this like force on you. But it was only when you actually made physical contact with it, you were like, yes.
Okay. Can we?
I'm gonna make a chest out of a lobster net.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hell yeah.
Jay, you head down. You toss like a couple of shekels to like one of the fishermen. He's like, yeah, sure, there you go. Gives you like a lobster net. It's fine.
I'll levitate it up to you, Jay, and you can catch it in your lobster pot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you make an intelligence roll, Theodus.
It's right. Like, popped on his head. No.
Oh shit!
Don't roll the one. That might happen.
Not the fighter.
I got 13.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so you levitate it up. Basically, Jay like slides this lobster pot underneath it. You cancel the spell, and it plops into the lobster pot.
Good catch.
And you like,
Nice.
Jay, you
Nice.
shut the door on it.
Yeah, tie it shut.
Yeah, absolutely fine. Theodus like now puts his like sheet over the top of it and ties it up so it's like a bag.
Yeah, like a little backpack or something.
That's it.
So,
double bag it, safety first.
Right, we need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Well, what are we going to do with this crown now we've got it?
We're going to Forge Hold.
Forge hold.
Or
Full
take it
toll.
to Mount Death.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna check it to Mount Death and throw it in.
No, Forge Hold. That's what the legend said. The dwarves can turn it into a weapon to get rid of them. Do
Well, yeah,
something.
they'll tell us where to go and throw it in.
That is the... Yeah. That was the
Well,
tale.
the dragon's waking up. We better get going.
Let's get going.
Yeah,
And
let's get
indeed,
it.
yeah, as you can say that you hear this like in the distance,
that-
and you see this huge
that
like
sounds
winged
like
creature
our bell.
flying over the water like,
I'll shout to the lady like, "We brought your boat back."
And a dragon.
we brought your boat back, peace!
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so you guys jump.
Got your family soon, don't worry.
You guys
Yeah.
jump on. Yeah, feeding your family's not going to be an issue.
It's going to be least of your problems.
You guys jump on your horses and sort of race off. Where are you heading?
To Forge hold. Through the...
Forge Hold.
I guess we're going to kind of...
Okay.
How
So-
better get some supplies first, though.
Yeah, we'll get some supplies on the way. Through Gondor.
That's fine. You buy some supplies. That's not a problem.
Montage.
Indeed. So clean
If
breeze.
anyone buys the extra edition director's cut, they'll see all this.
You follow the previous route that you took through the forest and through the mountains. Clean breeze. Make me an intelligence roll.
Okay.
Difficulty's now back down to 12.
Oh, I've got 15 on the roll, so definitely pass.
Okay, so roll a d4.
D4. I got a 2 on the roll.
Okay, so after about 3 days of additional travel beyond your original route, you start climbing up this mountain. You see what appears to be, on the top of it, a large, squat stone fortress. As you approach, there are 2 stout dwarves stood outside the front of the stone portal, wearing full plate armour, large plaited beards, and helmets. As you approach, they sort of hold up axes, and they're like, "Identify yourselves."
You know, I always thought we were going to have Scottish accents as well.
Aye.
You're in Clichéa world.
Yeah.
These are just guards, give it time.
Like, my name is Theodus Omar, and we are part of the Watch from the Wall.
The massive wall.
The massive
massive
wall.
wall.
X-Wall.
Have you got to say which one it is? It could be any wall.
Now known as the Big Breach.
With a massive hole
He's like,
in the massive wall.
what business do you have in Dwarf Hold?
We carry a ancient artifact that was destined for here.
He's like, what artifact?
We'll tell your leaders that.
I mean,
Yeah.
It's a bit private.
They one of them takes like a horn, and then he gestures for you to follow him. You hear like a grinding of stone, and the gates are like,
Nice.
and you're led into this fortress that appears like you descend into the mountain. You pass by stone columns of great architectural skill, deep into the deep vaults of the dwarves. And you emerge into a large hall lit by burning braziers and torches. Seated on a large stone throne is a portly dwarf wearing plate mail armour, a long plaited grey beard, and a mithril crown resting on his head. Behind him on the wall are hung numerous trophies of battle, shields, swords and other weapons. You can see that he has sat on a table in front of him. He's literally just been like whetstoning it. An ornate sword with dwarven runes on it.
Can I just say, on our journey, can I have redistributed everybody's swag?
Oh yeah. I want my bloody statue back.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. As you walk in, one of the dwarven guards who's led you in heads up and he says, "Great." He kneels down with his axe next to him. He says, "Great Thane. These outsiders claim to have bought an artifact of great power." The old dwarf looks up and he says, "Hey, what artifact is that then?"
I will take a kneel because there's obviously some kind of royalty.
He nods approvingly as you do that.
I'll bow. Okay.
Yeah, I'll give him a bow.
He's like, "You may rise. Know that you stand in the presence of Thane O'Banion, Lord of Dwarfhold. What's this artifact you bring us?"
The Iron Crown.
His eyes widen as you say that, and he gestures to the table in front of him.
I will put it down, but be on guard.
It has tried to take over our minds.
It has dark, tainted magic that affects your mind.
He looks at it, he gestures to the dwarven guards to sort of uncover it. It's still in the lobster pot. And he says, "This crown was supposed to have been brought to my people over 100 years ago when I was a young man. But it never reached here."
We found the corpse of the first hero. He never reached you.
We've been as quick as we can.
At which point, I'm going to ask, as the dwarf's sort of looking at this crown, can one of you roll me a d20 for his charisma check?
Yeah, if you want.
Go on, Alex.
Go on, Fizz.
He got a 9.
Okay, you see he sort of he starts reaching forward, but he obviously with an effort of will he controls himself and he reaches his hand back and he's like, I see what you mean.
Careful.
And you can see he visibly has to move his hand back and he grips onto the arms of the throne to restrain himself.
It needs turning into a weapon.
He says, "Aye, that was the original plan, but if this thing can control the minds of people, what's it gonna do to our smiths if they try and forge it? No, it's clear this thing must be destroyed."
But
And how do we go about doing that?
About death.
Indeed. At which point he relates the tale to you how the crown was forged of evil and the fires of Mount Death, and it is only in those fires the crown may be destroyed.
I think we should have gone Commander.
That's a long way.
So,
Damn you, Janie, I'll tell it.
any of your dwarves fancy nipping across the Mount Death for us then?
He's like, "Aye, we can do it if you wish."
No.
I think we should at least have some help. Maybe if you could spare some of your men to assist us.
Yeah, if you bring your military.
Yeah.
He says that the quickest way through the land of Gothmore into the Shadow Mountains where Mount Death lies is across the great maelstrom. It's a treacherous journey, but aye, we've got ships. We can take you.
Can you give us some better armour?
Yeah,
Aye, that we can do. Are we not the most renowned forge masters in the land?
You are.
I was wondering if you could spare it or not.
Aye, for a journey such as this, we can spare it. At which point, over the course of the next day, you are all given gleaming suits of dwarven armour.
Kick montage.
You all now have +2 armour.
Way!
Ching. Yeah.
And I didn't have
Oh,
to
this is
sleep
a better
with anyone.
staff. I have this staff, yeah.
Put my pimp coat back over the top.
Same thing. coat.
In fact, Theodus,
That-
make me a charisma roll.
Oh.
Ooh, natural 20.
Oh.
So
And a
that is
dwarf and an elf lie together.
Indeed.
Indeed.
So,
23.
oddly enough,
Bang me
you know, you guys are sort of like, you're basically you're heading to a concealed underground river, which the dwarves plan to use one of their great boats to take you to across the maelstrom. You notice that Theodus is looking like a little bit worn out as he joins you, and you notice that his armour is like particularly fine, and it appears to have been like personally engraved, like in elven runes with his like, name on it.
You'll shag
And
everything,
you
mate.
did notice he was like talking to like a fairly attractive like young forge mistress like the night before.
He's got some family heirloom armour because he's part of a family now.
She had a very alluring beard.
Okay.
It was so silky, she must be.
What's our pluses for the armour?
+2.
+2.
Okay, so you're taken to this underground river where effectively like a large sort of paddle steamboat is sat. You're all taken on board. The dwarves effectively sort of like work a mechanism. So instead of like rowing it, they sort of like turn these like big corkscrews that work the paddles. And slowly you begin chugging across the maelstrom. As you head out of the water, the boat actually, they close the top of the boat and it actually sinks below the water.
Okay.
And the dwarven submersible begins to make its way. You hear the creaking and groaning of the metal hull as it passes through the ever-swirling storm of the great maelstrom. You see like the dwarves like renew their efforts turning these large mechanisms to get across the maelstrom, but you make it across unscathed. Unscathed until as you're heading across, they're like the sort of like the dwarven sort of master of the boat is like, we're heading through the maelstrom, lads, put your back into it. And they're all like then suddenly like, Jay, you hear a boom, boom, and like two of the like the rivets on the wall sort of like pop out, and water starts to go.
Fuck.
It's like, we're nearly there, lads. Come on, full speed.
We're leaking.
Oh, put my hand over it.
Yeah, you see like a couple of the dwarves as well are like trying to like hammer like metal patches across it. However, their efforts are in vain. Water bursts in. You hear the crumpling sound of metal. Water and blackness engulfs you.
And you drown. The end of the
Because
game.
we're all wearing
That's the end.
Because we're all wearing
What?
A few hours later, or it could be days, who knows, you all awaken on a bleak, desolate beach made of fine black sand. You splutter, coughing up water. It would appear that the dwarves, knowing you were to pass through the maelstrom, wove enchantments into the armour you wear that caused you to remain buoyant, for want of a better word. And although you have all swallowed some water, you are otherwise undamaged by the incident. But of the dwarves and of their boat, there is no sign. Up ahead of you, you can see bleak, dark mountains, and you see the active volcano of Mount Death, lava slowly rolling down its ebony peaks. You can also see, some distance to the southwest of it, a huge, imposing, dark tower rising many miles above the landscape. And burning at the top of it is what appears to be a pale green fire, casting a pestilent light across the landscape.
Are you alright there? Does she look a bit peaky? Oh no, wait, it's that light.
What do you do?
We've got to go to the mountain.
Yeah, I'll just kind of like dust myself off, make sure I'm looking my peaky, my best for Mount Death.
As you look up at the top of Mount Death, you see a familiar dark wing shape perched at the top of it.
Oh, it's that cacking dragon.
As it flaps its wings and lets out a mighty screech, embers from the fires of Mount Death and the smell of a charnel house waft towards you.
Come on,
Why didn't we just ride the dragon here? It would have been quicker.
Hello.
let's just get to the bottom and then you
what?
can sneak in, Boffin, and chuck it
Oh,
in there.
what? Why me?
You just sneak in, drop the crown in, easy peasy.
Oh, come on, you know you want to wear all our gear and be stacked again. You'll be fine. I'll just be like patting you on the shoulder while also edging you forwards.
There.
There. You'll be okay. There.
I don't like that.
Okay, so what's the plan, guys?
Problems one at a time. Kill the dragon. Kill the crown.
Kill the dragon.
Boom. It's an
If you say
elegantly
it
simple
fast, it
plan.
sounds quite easy.
Right, let's put it a different way then. Two of us will try to kill the dragon, whilst three of you put the crown inside the volcano.
Okay.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay, so which of you are going to try and fight the dragon?
Can I be on
That
Team
should be
C?
me and Orchid.
On Team C.
Okay, so Orchid and Jay against the dragon. The rest of you are on Crown Patrol.
So, Frodo, a Sam, and a Gollum. One of us is not going to make it out.
Okay, so Team Dragon. As you're also letting you head across the desolate Shadow Mountains to the foot of Mount Death. You still see this beast on top, occasionally belching flame. Orchid and Jay, how do you intend to attract the dragon's attention?
Oh, you fucker.
Over here!
Are you just going to like shout at it, Orchid?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So obviously you guys have a bit of a chance to discuss this plan as you're travelling towards Mount Death. So while those guys are shouting at the dragon, what are Team Crown going to do?
Well, is there some like obvious entrance to this mountain, or?
You would assume that the fiery bit is on the top.
Well, we should get to the top.
Throw it in. Job done.
We're going to try and use like rocks around and shit probably to hide as we're kind of going up.
Yeah,
so
try and hide and
so we
sneak
kind of hide
out.
what we're doing.
Whilst go from a different direction from these two. whilst
Theo's
they're-
carrying the case. with
Okay,
us.
so Merwig, since you're like the stealth master general,
I'm a
can,
weak.
can you please make me a dex roll, Merwig? It's only difficulty 15 because obviously there's a distraction.
Oh, yeah, here we go. I got a 12.
So plus your dex and any other stealthy stuff you've got.
Dex 2, and Thieves Hood 3.
Boom, you've done it. Okay,
Wow,
so as Orchid and Jay start shouting, there's an almighty "Arr!" from this dragon. It takes off from the peak and it's like, and it's gliding down towards you guys.
Good luck,
So
lads. Good luck.
what we're effectively going to do here is, in the same way as we did like the intelligence rolls to make it through the mountains of mist, we're going to do the same for these guys getting up to Mount Death. They've got to get a total of 10 effort to get to the top and throw it in. So you guys have to like distract the dragon for as many rounds as it takes them to get to the top. So
Okay. I'll dragon chowder.
okay, so it's going to be a wisdom roll to navigate up the mountain. So who's going to be navigating you up Mount Death?
Boffin McBoff.
Oh no, you're. Oh, is it wisdom? did you-
Wisdom. Your wisdom.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's me again.
And
then.
my intelligence tells me you should do it.
Okie dokie. All right.
And my charisma says I definitely shouldn't be.
Okay, so I'm going to...
16 on the dice.
That's
plus
fine, so
2, 18.
Okay, so roll your d4.
4. 3.
Okay, so obviously I'm totaling this down. You need to get like 10 in total. So for the first round, they started creeping up the mountain. The dragon swoops down towards you, so it's going to take a round to get to you. So Merwig,
Fire a longbow at it.
Yeah, go for it. Make your roll.
What? It's me rolling.
No, it's Jay's firing an arrow at it.
Oh, right, cool.
20 total. It wasn't the natural 20.
Okay, roll your damage.
8.
Okay.
Nice, first blow.
The arrow hits one of the dragon's membranous wings and it screeches in pain, but continues to swoop down towards you.
That's fine. It's coming our way.
That's good. That's good.
Okay. In response, it opens its mouth and a gout of flame blasts towards Orchid and Jay. Can you please both make a con roll? So roll a d20, add your con. Difficulty is 15.
Oh,
14, so no.
Okay.
Damn it. One off.
Okay, so Orchid, you're engulfed by the fire. You take 8 hit points of damage. Jay, you throw yourself to one side and they take 4 hit points of damage.
Okay.
And that was just as it was coming towards you. So on this round, after Merwig's made her roll, it will reach you.
Yeah.
So Merwig, make your wisdom roll. As you're all climbing up the mountain, trying to get to the top, you can hear the dragon screeching and belching flame at your companions below.
I got a plus wisdom, is it?
Yep.
So 10 plus. I've got 12.
Okay, so you've made no progress that round.
Oh,
Okay, so
Sorry, guys.
the dragon has reached you guys. Orchid, what do you want to do?
So hiding behind his shield, he wait for the dragon to swoop and then swing at it with his longsword.
Go for it.
Oh, 18. So that is a hit,
Nice.
Nice.
and damage will be 11 damage.
Okay.
Nice.
You score a vicious wound in the dragon's neck as it snakes out. It screeches out in rage and turns its full fury towards you, Orchid. Jay, what are you doing?
I'm going to aim for the same soft, squishy spot that's just been opened.
Okay, go for it.
Natural 20.
So you get to roll your ultimate dice and add it on.
Get in.
$13.
So that point, do you roll both dice? Your normal attack and that dice?
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And then add both the numbers on.
Okay,
as well.
again, you did a very vicious swipe to it, and it turns its anger on you. Now, just to let you know, guys, the dragon has a special ability where if you do more than like 10 damage to it, it launches all its attacks at the last person to do more than 10 damage on it.
Okay.
All 3 of its attacks.
That's fine.
Okay, so first of all, it is going to do, it lashes out with its tail. So can you, both of you, Orchid and Jay, make a dex check?
6 total.
Okay.
16.
Armor class 15.
Okay. So, Jay, luckily, thanks to the dwarven armor, you only take 4 hit points of damage. Orchid, you leap out of the way and avoid the tail lash. It's then going to take its second action. Okay. So it is going to attack each of you, because you both did like 10 damage in the same round. So it's going to attack each of you with its claws. Okay, so it's hit Jay. And it's got a natural 20 on Orchid.
We're both dead.
No.
Okay, so that's 7 hit points of damage to Jay.
So I'm on -5.
Okay, that's you pretty much done.
No.
No.
And that's 12 on Orchid.
So that's -10.
Okay, so you are both torn to the ground by the dragon's claws. Merwig, make me a wisdom roll.
Before, John, before that,
Fortunately, we're not killed instantly. So
Yeah. Good.
Before that,
Now,
as that's going
what
on-
I'm going to say is, Merwig, obviously you had that token that could like give you like an extra life. Did you give it to one of those two who were going to fight the dragon?
Probably a good idea.
Which of them did you give it to? Because they both effectively died.
Oh, Jay.
Okay, so Jay, as you fall to the ground and you feel your life leaving you, this stone explodes and you find yourself sort of stood on your feet with your full hit points.
Okay.
The dragon roars out in frustration. You can see the twisted, broken form of Orchid below one of its claws.
I'm going to have given them one of the pots of medicine as well. I don't know if that's going to help at all.
Okay. Yeah, okay, so Jay, you've got a pot of medicine. Orchid's down. But basically, you can either attack the dragon or you can slap some meds on Orchid.
It's all right. If you carry on fighting it, next turn I'll do a dying roll and get that luck. I might survive.
Indeed.
I'll keep striking at the dragon then.
Go for it.
Okay, so before we do that, Merwig, make your wisdom roll. See if you.
I kept my roll because it was good. Because I rolled
That's fine.
I got 19.
So roll your d4.
My D4. Come on, D4.
I put some more appropriate battle music in the.
It was a 2.
Okay, so you continue to trudge up the mountain. You're now on 6. You need another 4 to like reach the top of the mountain. Okay, Theodis, you were talking about doing something as you've seen you've just seen like Jay, like the stone explode and he's leaped up, restored, whereas Orchid is like crushed beneath the dragon's claw. You were talking about doing something, Theodis. Do you still want to do something?
That is on pause for the moment.
Okay. So next round, Jay,
Attack the dragon, same spot.
go for it.
23 to hit.
Nice.
8 points of damage.
Okay, again, it howls in pain and it breathes out a gout of flame around you. Make a con roll, Jay.
Oh, fucking fire.
It's a dragon. You know what I mean?
I know.
21.
I know.
21. Okay. Again, thanks to the enchantments woven in the Dwarven armor, you only take 6 hit points of damage.
Okay, so I'm back down to 4.
You do a quick during combat healy.
And then luckily for you, as it sort of comes in with its 2 claws, I've just rolled a 1 and a 4. So, so you manage to avoid its claws as it's like...
So it's just stomped on Orchid a little bit more then.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I've failed my dying roll, and I got rolled a d6, and I've got 3 rounds until I'm dead.
No. Can you hear heroes fight? Can you?
Okay, so as you dive back, Jay, you look down at Orchid, and you're in no doubt that like the life is leaving him. However, the dragon's now no longer stood on him because it's like concentrating on you. Okay.
Yeah.
Merwig, make your wisdom roll. You just need 4 more,
1.
and then you're at the top. Your valiant
So-
companions have bought you some time. Orchid possibly
13
with
on
his
the
life.
dice and 2 wisdom, so 15.
You've succeeded. Roll your d4.
Roll that 4.
If you get that 4, you're there.
That
Come on!
4. Think 4.
Oh, it's a 2.
Ah, that's not.
Okay, you can see the top. You're nearly there. Just a few more seconds and you'll be there. Can Jay buy you a few of those necessary seconds? Jay, what do you do?
I'm going to
Get-
dive for
get
cover
hot
and
food as
apply
well.
some healing.
Onto yourself, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you dive behind cover, roll a d6,
As you can.
and add your con, and that's how many hit points you get back from this healing salve.
4.
Okay.
I'll keep you alive one more time.
Again, the dragon breathes a gout of flame. Make a con roll.
Oh shit.
Con. 18 total.
Okay, lovely. So you only take 5 hit points of damage from the scorching dragon fire,
Back to 3, yeah.
and it's hit you with one of its claws.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Okay, luckily for you, you only take another 6 hit points of damage as it's clawing.
-3.
Okay,
Oh, no.
so just as you guys are getting to the top, Theodis, you look down and you see this claw swipe drag Jay to the ground. He falls next to the bleeding body of Orchid. This creature raises its head to the sky, screeches in triumph, and breathes out a gout of flame.
I will turn and throw a pouch of 50 gold to Merwig, my hook and rope to Clean Breeze, and make my way down.
Okay, now, if you want to get down there quickly, because obviously this dragon's looking around, it's going to see you. You can make a dex roll if you want to get
Or
down there quickly.
levitate.
I will. That's a 1. I might be coming down quickly, but not necessarily.
Okay, so what happens is you bolt down the mountain.
I've tried to slide on my rusty shield and just spooned it.
You try and slide, like remembering Jay's heroics at the wall, but as you slide down, you stumble as the shield catches a stone, and you pretty much roll over, and you're like looking up into the dragon as its head's looking down. So you're going to miss your first round as you're sort of like picking yourself up, and this dragon's like.
It's around the dragon. It is looking at me and no one
Indeed.
else.
So, Merwig, make your wisdom roll.
Just me and you, Merwig. Just me and you.
You just need to succeed at one more roll.
17!
You've succeeded, and you're obviously going to roll at least a 1. So, both Clean Breeze and Merwig have made it to the top. So, next round, you can throw the crown in. Theodis, you've only got to survive 1 round against this creature as it breathes a column of dragon fire towards you. Make a con roll.
Merwig, is this a good time to start debating if you should actually wear it and just become Dark Lord?
Yeah, we'll have that argument at the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
17.
Well, I can't say
That is a
Clean Breeze,
success.
it wasn't fun.
Oh, sorry, 18. Sorry.
Okay, you take 2 hit points of damage.
Yeah.
As you literally like dive but roll behind like a large rock, and that takes the brunt of the blast of fire.
Must have been the
Breathing
continuing
like a
motion. of you
What's your
falling
AC?
I'm. Can I use my rusty shield as well?
Yeah.
So 15.
Okay, so the dragon's claws come down, and it is going to hit you. However, if you wish, you can sacrifice the shield instead of taking the damage.
100%.
So the dragon's claw like destroys the shield, crumpling it up like an aluminium tin can, but you are unharmed. Okay, Merwig
Yeah.
and Clean Breeze, you reach the top, you take the crown out, both make me a charisma roll.
Oh, boy.
Charisma, great.
Difficulty 15.
Oh, I got 14, and I think I've got 1 in charisma.
I got 13.
Yes.
And have I got? Oh, I've got 1 in charisma because I got a fucking. I'm gonna get my pipe out and have a think about if I should become a Dark Lord.
Well, you need 15 or more.
Oh, all right.
I got 15.
I got 14 then. So
Okay,
actually, yeah,
so
yeah.
Merwig, you're like, you can feel the pull of this crown, but you know of its temptations, and you're ready to throw it into the fire. As she's about to throw it in, Clean Breeze, you're like, surely someone who's a master of magic like yourself. No, she can't destroy the crown. You could have it. Think of the power you could use to stop the Dark Lord if you had all that sorcerer's knowledge. What do you do, Clean Breeze? You want the crown off her.
Imagine my arcane missile. It's so powerful.
Indeed. What you could destroy the Dark Lord, and you could become a wise ruler of the land. What do you do to try and get the crown off her?
I'm gonna say arcane missile and try and shoot it at her hands.
Okay, make your intelligence roll for the arcane missile.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
I got a 12 on the roll. Oh, I think that was in there. Yeah, so I got 15.
Okay, so you're not trying to damage her. So
No,
a magic, as you're about to throw it in, Merwig, suddenly you hear Clean Breeze being like, "No, we should use its power," and he fires this, and then he shouts, "Arcane missile!" Fires it into the crown, and it flies up in the air. And as you're sort of like reaching another round passes. So Theodis, you've got to survive another round against the dragon, but you get to act first. What are you doing?
Okay.
You can see it's got numerous wounds over it. I mean, Orchid and Jay put their hurt down on it.
Okay. Well, in that
It's
case,
still
I'm
a
just
fucking
gonna.
dragon.
Yeah. Much like Rain of Fire, I'm gonna try and leap at its face with a battle axe.
Go for it.
Like Rain of
Do
Fire,
it,
I'm
my
just gonna get
friend.
eaten.
Make a strength
Do it.
roll.
It'll make a good poster for the film.
14.
No, you need a 15 or more. So you leap at it with your battle axe, and in response, it is indeed in the rain of fire style going to attempt to just gobble you up.
Luckily, we can cut there for the trailer. We'd have to show that bit.
Yeah, that's fine, mate. I'll just be like...
Good trailer bit, that is. Good
Okay, you've
bit,
taken 15 hit points of damage.
Oh.
That's me on
Is that burnt bread?
-7.
Is that burnt
Okay,
bread?
so Merwig, as this crown flies up in the air, you look down to see Theodos in like slow motion, like, and the dragon just goes, oomph, and you see his axe go, ding, 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 down onto the floor as he disappears into the dragon's
Friends
mouth.
are dead.
The crown's spinning through the air. You can see the dragon looks up and it sees the two of you. It starts to beat its wings, ready to take off. Clean Breeze, you still want that crown. Merwig, you can see the look of greed in his eyes. You know the crown's got him.
Yeah.
What do you do?
I'll just be like, Cleaveries, look, the fucking dragon's about to eat you, and then try and grab the crown.
Okay, Clean Breeze.
I won't have to worry about the crown.
Yeah, you're just like, what's that dragon going to do when I've got that crown and I'm like the Wizard Lord? Okay, so I'm assuming you're both trying to grab it. So
Yeah.
both make me a d20 roll, add your dex, and whoever gets the highest has got it.
Well, it's not big because I got a 6 on my roll.
I've got a 12.
Okay, Merwig, you jump up and grab the crown. You can see like Clean Breeze is like coming for it. What do you do?
What, I've got the crown?
Yeah, you've leapt
Jump
up,
in
you've,
the lava.
you've grabbed it. What do you
I'm
do?
leaping. I'm going for you. So.
Yeah, and Clean Breeze is like, no.
No, I'm going to try and, like, kick him in the face. And in a way push me towards the aperture of the mountain so that hopefully I can just, like, lob the crown in.
Okay, so make me a d20 roll, add your strength.
I got a 15.
Okay.
And my strength is nothing.
Okay, so you don't manage to get his face, but you like basically like kick Clean Breeze's legs out from underneath him, and he sort of like falls onto his face on the stone of the mountain. You've got a few seconds where you're free of him trying to grab the crown. What do? You're right near the edge.
I'm going to chuck it in if I'm right near the edge.
You throw the crown, and you see it spiraling down towards the lava below. Clean Breeze, can you tear yourself free, or do you go after it? Make me a charisma roll.
Oh.
Oh.
Gollum. No one goes full Gollum.
He's going to go
I got 15 on the roll.
Okay, so you sort of like run to the edge, and for a few moments you're about to like throw yourself in. Then some part of your brain rebels against it, and you tear yourself free of the sorcerer's enchantment, pulling yourself back from the edge. As the crown hits the lava, it appears to sit there for a few moments. Then it sinks below the lava and is unmade. Merwig, as you look back, you see this dragon flying towards you. Suddenly the dragon bursts into flames and it is rapidly consumed, falling to the ground as a few shards of bone. Theodos, make me a con roll.
Because I'm in that.
You're inside that.
Ooh.
Sharknado it.
16?
Okay, so as this dragon sort of flies towards you, turns into bones, like pretty much the sort of like slightly digested like body of Theodos like pretty much lands at your feet, Merwig.
I'm going to use a little pot of poultice on him.
Okay, you're restored to 2 hit points, Theodos. You're suddenly like, and you there's like dragon bones raining around you. As you open your eyes, Theodos, to see Merwig like applying this poultice to you, your eyes fall on this dark tower in the distance. An audible rumbling emanates from it. The green fire at its tip flares brightly and is then extinguished, and the tower begins to fall to the ground as shards of metal and stone.
Sit there and watch it on the top of the volcano.
What about
Well, we're going to go down the bottom of the mountain and see if
What
there's
about the
anything we can do for the others.
Yeah.
But we've got no poultice or anything left.
Find
so...
the remains of our friends, if not anything else.
Yeah.
Yeah, Theodos is like, check the others.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll go down the mountain and see if they're alright.
Yeah.
Which I assume they're not.
Okay,
slowly
so
follow on.
you make it to Jay.
Hey, I found Jay!
You make it to Jay and to Orchid. Okay, so there's very little chance they're going to be alive. So I'm going to say, Merwig, roll me a d6. If you get a 1, Jay's alive.
Oh my god.
Down to you and your 1 dash.
I got a 5, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Heroic death.
Jay has died, heroically buying you those
it's,
vital seconds. Make a
roll it
d6 for Orchid. If you get a 1, he's alive.
No, sorry, I got 5 again.
Okay, unfortunately,
That's loaded.
both your companions have perished valiantly in the line of duty, buying you those precious moments to throw the crown.
Die in vain.
And as you watch, you see the tower continues to crumble, and the power of the Dark Lord is unmade, and a wave of well-being and peace washes out across the land. We cut to a scene days or perhaps weeks later. We see Theodos wrapped in bandages, sort of still bearing sort of like long-lasting injuries that will haunt him for the rest of his days. Clean Breeze, fortified mentally by his experiences with the crown, and Merwig hailed as the hero who brought down the Dark Lord.
Fabulous robes.
You stand there next to 2 boats that contain the swaddled and bound remains of your companions, the free peoples of the land who owe you a great debt, stand behind you. You are flanked by ranks of dwarves, elves, men and halflings. Men at the shore push the boats out onto the now calm waters where once the maelstrom ended, but like the Dark Lord, its power has now ceased, and clear crystal waters stretch into the distance. The boats sail slowly into the distance, at which point the elves pull out long willow bows. Their arrows, they whisper arcane words, their arrows burst into flames. They fire them, and a cloud of arrows, almost enough to blot out the sun, sails through the air, striking the funeral boats and causing them to catch light as they sail into the distance. A fitting tribute to your companions who gave their lives to set the land of Clichéa free. And as their boats and their spirits sail away, you are greeted by a slightly sombre but heartfelt cheer and the congratulations and best wishes of all the free peoples of the land.
Is it really slow-mo and like really slow-mo and fuzzy around the edges?
Indeed. You hear the lyrical voices of the elves begin to sing, and the word of your deeds has spread across the land.
A kiss from...
Indeed. And as your companions' bodies sail away and their spirits move to the next world, the scene fades slowly to black, and we draw an end to our session.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Awesome.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
Thank you very much for playing, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it.
That was great.
That was
yeah.
good.
Very
That
much, John. Yeah, that was quality.
Yeah.
Solid.
Come on, we all knew that
story.
Team Kill the Dragon wasn't going to do very well out of that.
Well, no, yeah, there was definitely going to be some losses in that fight, and they're good heroic losses, thank God. You know what I mean?
I was like, I'm getting ready to do my heroic turn. I've spooned it down the mountain.
Yeah.
Great.
I know you don't like the film, Rob, but I did have the scene from Thor Ragnarok with Hulk when he jumps out of the plane and you know, it's like kind of like, oh, ha! And he just like landed down. He's like landing in front of the dragon like looks down and you're like, I mean, yeah.
What?
Well, thank you very much, guys. That was a slightly simplified version of ICRPG. Now, I've not broadcast this directly, but I have like recorded it so I can upload it later if everyone's fine with that. That's why I've not broadcast it. I just wanted to check before I did that. But obviously I wanted to get started 100%. As soon as possible. So if anyone's watching this after I've uploaded it, hope you enjoy this slightly sort of cliched, slightly fantasy adventure. I'm obviously happy to chat for a while, guys, but I'm going to end the recording now. So anyone watching this, hopefully we'll catch you in the future. Take care.
Catch you later, guys.